Nothing is faster and more exhilarating in chess than a bullet game. It's all about quick thinking and taking advantage of every opportunity when it comes. Blink and you'll miss it.
How did he do that?
Despite its popularity, bullet chess only has one annual championship tournament. And now, entering its 5th year, the Bullet Chess Championship is stronger than ever. 3-time champion Hikaru Nakamura again looks to defend his title and add to his impressive trophy case.
A brutal finish. Nakamura officially has won.
The only player who has ever stopped Nakamura in this event also returns to take another shot at it. 2021 champion Alireza Firouzja.
That's it?
Competing with these champions for the first time in the format, the best all-around player in the world. Magnus Carlsen has dominated chess seemingly forever, but he's never played in the Bullet Chess Championship. Will one of these big three of Bullet take home the $20,000 crown? Or can someone else claim the title? Maybe Naroditsky, Tang, Hansen, Caruana?
It's me! That is the Fabiano finale.
In this speediest of speed chess championships, only one champion will emerge. Welcome to the 2023 Bullet Chess Championship.
Welcome back. It is day 2 of the 2023 Bullet Chess Championship. I'm your host, Grandmaster Robert Hess, alongside me, my good friend, Grandmaster Simon Williams. And boy, what an exhilarating day we had yesterday. It ended on a high note. It was Jose Martinez outlasting Anish Giri in sudden death. Simon, do you expect more of the same here for day 2?
Hi Robert, and hi everyone watching. I do. I think actually today there's going to be even more action. Yesterday was a great start, but we saw a lot of players overwhelming their opponents, including Hikaru, who got a monstrous score, and also Magnus Carlsen playing against Eric Hansen. You mentioned this match at the end though, Robert, and that was one hell of a match. Jose Martinez overcoming Anish Giri in the last game possible. So I think there's going to be a lot of close games today, Robert.
It was an incredible first day of action, and we entered the event with 16 participants, and guess what? That's where we remain. Don't worry. If your favorite player lost yesterday, you could still watch them right here, right now, because this is a 16-player double elimination tournament. There is a lot of prize money at stake, $100,000. 10 of the players were invited directly into the competition. 6 players had to qualify their way, slugging through the competition just in those qualifiers to make it here. But when you make it here, it's not all peaches and roses. You have to win your matches, and when Hikaru Nakamura is in this field, the winner of 3 of the first 4 Bullet Chess Championships, you know your work is cut out for you.
You certainly do. I mean, it's going to be very tough, and as you mentioned, Robert, I mean, the first games, they're going to be really, really stressful for the players because it is a double elimination tournament, and the first matches we have, if they lose, they go home. They're out of the competition. Yesterday, they had a bit of a buffer. They lose, they get a second chance, but it's now elimination time, so that adds to the tension.
It certainly does, because while we have 16 players still in the field today, 4 of these players will not be here tomorrow. You see those players down in the losers bracket, but we start up top with our 4 really great matchups. Hikaru Nakamura, who was the heavy hitter yesterday, 22.5 points. That was really a sight to see. He takes on Jose Martinez. Daniel Naroditsky, Andrew Tang. That must be the marquee matchup of today. That one is very close. They played over 3,300 games against each other. And Magnus Carlsen, he takes on Minh. Magnus himself said that he's been impressed by Minh's play. And Alireza Firouzja, the 2021 champion, he is going to have a slugfest against Alexander Bortnik, who's been Bortnik strong ever since the first BCC. But Simon, we have the losers bracket first that we're going to see today. These players, they do not want to go home.
No, of course not. They want to fight it out all the way, and it's just some mouth-watering prospects already today. But the losers bracket, we're starting off with Fabiano on his last chance saloon, and he's playing the young Denis Lazovic. So that's going to be very interesting, I think, as our first match. Fabiano, well, we know how strong he is, but the young Dennis is playing so well. And we've got many other very exciting matches in this chance where they don't get another chance. If they lose, they are out. But you mentioned some of those names as well, Robert. I mean, Hikaru, Magnus, Danya, Andrew Tang. It's, what more can we wish for as chess fans? Anything? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, and they don't have to wish for much longer because the action will start soon, and we're starting the day, as you mentioned, Fabiano Caruana taking on Denis Lazovic, Dmitry Andreikin taking on David Paravian. So we have two super grandmasters on the right-hand side of your screen, but then we have this junior upstart from Belarus in Lazovic and David Paravian, who can hold his own in bullet. So we see Lazovic on screen here. Simon, big expectations for the junior player?
He's been playing so well recently, Robert. I mean, in the Champions Chess Tour, which has only just finished, he won Division 2. So he's going to be in the top division in the next event. So he's on fire form-wise at this moment in time. He's very hard to beat. He's got a very mature style for only 17 years old. But obviously, he's playing against Fabiano. And I think the one thing he's got on his side, I'm going to say the only chance he's got, because Fabiano is a better chess player, let's be honest, is the clock. He's got to play quicker than Fabiano to have any chance there.
I agree with that, and he's very consistent, is Lazovic. He drew 13 games in a row against Super Grandmaster Sam Sevian in that Champions Chess Tour Division 2, so that is as consistent as it gets. But somebody who did not have a good day yesterday, but we know is a superstar in his own right, is Dmitry Andreikin. He made the candidates way back in 2014. He's been a Super Grandmaster for a decade. 3310 peak bullet rating on chess.com. He was a finalist in the Rapid Chess Championship a year ago, and I think maybe this is his most impressive stat at all. 13-time winner of Title Tuesday.
Robert, that's just greedy. He should share them about a little bit. Give me one of them. Just one of them. That's the only chance I would have of ever winning a Title Tuesday. And what a player he is, though. I mean, Dmitry has been on chess.com playing in these tournaments for as long as I can remember, and he's always been at the top. He's always been challenging for the prizes, and he just has an amazing track record. He is an elite player, and he's pretty good at all time limits as well.
Yeah, he certainly is, but so is his opponent, because he's taking on David Paravian, who's made a name for himself. I think he's one of the biggest beneficiaries of chess being online, because he's had great success in the Rapid Chess Championship, in speed chess events. So it's good to see Paravian here, but he doesn't want to just be here. He wants to move on, and he takes on Andreikin. That's going to be a difficult matchup for him, but this is a determined player. This is somebody who has succeeded against higher rated opposition. So Simon, I think that Paravian certainly has a chance, and he may not even be so much of an underdog.
Agreed. I think it's going to be quite a close match. We saw David play very quickly yesterday, and again, I think he's got to use the clock. That goes without saying, really, but it does coming more importantly. And we saw that maybe Andreikin's sort of weakness yesterday was the clock. He the super quick Andrew Tang, and I think anyone would have a problem against Andrew and the clock. But this is going to be an important factor in that match as well. Great start-up matches for us, because again, we've got to remind everyone that if they lose, they go home. They're out of the competition, and some of the other pairings after that, though, I mean, they're mouth-watering as well.
I'm going to put you on the spot quickly. Predictions for our opening two matchups. Who is going to move on?
I'm going to go Fabiano, and I'm going to go Dmitry. And what about yourself?
Wow, you're going with the super GMs. I am going to go with Fabiano. I do think that he will right the ship from yesterday's debacle, but he was playing Bortnik. And I'm going to go with Paravian. I think Paravian is that good. He impressed me yesterday against Danya. He took 5.5 points off of the legendary sensei and prophet Naroditsky. So I think that Paravian, he'll take... Watch it.
I think my guesses are a bit unoriginal there. I just literally went for the higher rated players. It was quite an easy call, and this is what I do quite generally. It's nothing special about my predictions often, but they could be very close. As you say, I feel the second match will be the closer one. But whatever happens today, I think all the matches have more potential to go to the wire. So are we going to see more tie breaks, do you think?
Oh, I definitely think we will in the first two matches, but it's the marquee matchup, the one that I labeled as such, between Tang and Naroditsky. I could see that going on forever. I mean, that match is going to be so close.
Yes, that match, I think everyone must be excited about. But we actually starting to see some moves on the board now.
Okay, and they are already speeding through the opening stages. We have a Najdorf on the right-hand side of our screen between Parav. Actually, it's not a Najdorf because the pawn's on an a6, excuse me, between Paravian and Andrekin. And the left-hand side, we have Lazvik with white against Fabiano, and that looks like a King's Indian, a closed position. So when you see them out of the gate, Simon, do you notice anything about maybe their styles for the day, or what are you taking away from the opening stage?
Well, the only thing I can say very quickly is Fabiano is playing a very blocked position. He probably realises the structure he's going for should be a bit worse for black. He's winning the exchange here, quite risky. But I think against a younger opponent, it's a good idea to keep the position blocked because you give them maybe less tactical chances and more chances of using your experience. But what's going on there, Robert? Already a lot of tactics on the board.
Yeah, mayhem ensues, and we see in the Fabiano game as Denis Lazovic, well, it was advantage for white, but that king on h2 looks like it's in a bit more danger than the king on g8. That said, mistakes are going to continue to happen, and wow, I can't even calculate quickly enough. Things are flying off the board.
It's absolute mayhem, and if this is how the match is going to go, we're in for a really exciting match, and it's actually now equal on material. This is the game between Denis and Fabiano. It seems like Fabiano, though, has the better pieces. It's nice to have a knight generally in these positions, but maybe the black king is just a little bit weak here. Hard to assess.
Very difficult to assess on the right-hand side. A lot easier to assess because David Paravian, he's in the driver's seat against Dmitry Andrekin until I just opened my mouth because that bar is on a seesaw. It's on a journey up and down, doing some heavy lifting. But I think that now Paravian has it under control, and Fabiano he was apparently winning, but he's pre-moving. He has no time.
Yeah, and again, this is the problem that Fabiano had yesterday. Well, actually, did he win he won on time there, right? Well, no, he lost on time. I'm just trying to work out how that went. No, he lost on time. My mistake, I think.
No, you're okay. He lost that one on time. They're going to flip the cameras right now. See, our team working hard behind the scenes. But for Fabiano, he needs to be quicker in the scrambles. But I think one of his biggest problems, and maybe this is lack of experience in bullet, is that he's not great at predicting his opponent's moves. I feel like just there, he allowed Denis to throw that pawn forward, e6, e7, and that's what the best of the best are able to do. We see Naroditsky, we see Tang, of course, Veruja, Carlsen, Nakamura, they do this in their sleep, but these players, they're able to accurately predict when their opponents will pre-move and what they are going to do in the time scramble. So it's really cool stuff to see. It's very hard to be an expert at, but Fabiano, he needs to take a couple games so he can feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing you bring up. I mean, like, just the idea that you're ready to pre-move and you know exactly what to do is so important. And you can see here that Fabiano is in trouble in this second game as well. I mean, it's not going great here. He's a pawn down. He has just won a pawn back, though, with a nice tactic. And the queen's now coming off. It still seems preferable for black because white's pawns are quite weak on the queen side there. The white pawns are on dark squares and their dark square bishops are on the board, so only black can attack those pawns there. So I certainly rather be black in this position.
I mean, you were spot on in what you were saying, and then Fabiano agreed with you too much because he gave up a pawn. It was in a dark square, it was undefended when he pushed his pawn to g4, and suddenly Denis has allowed a drawn endgame from a winning position, and now Fabi's king is going to chase down this pawn. But these are the endgames that are drawn, at least according to the engine, and then you mess them up because you only have 10 seconds.
Yes, and this is where the clock comes in so important at this junction in the game. But okay, they've both got enough time there to get the draw. So Fabiano is off the mark. He has half a point already. And straight into the next game, which they're moving very quickly with.
Yeah, they are playing a similar position as they did in the first one. It's interesting to see them have such a combative type of opening, where we see the queen side opening up, the king side's locked down, but there are going to be some tactics in these positions, and we see now a lot of trades on the B file. I think black is a nice position, but most importantly, he's keeping level on the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seems like black is making more progress on the queen side here. The B pawn could be a bit of a weakness. They are moving so quick, though. I mean, you talk about commentators having a hard day at the office. It's a hard day when you're commentating on bullet chess. But look at the black king there. Fabiano's king seems to be getting into the position. And white just trying to keep a fortress. And now that black knight has a lovely square it can come into on f4. So even though the evaluation bar says it's even, I much prefer Fabiano's position. A good chance to level the score. And in the other match, the score is level. Dmitry versus David, it's, I think, 2 points all. So far, very close matches.
Yeah, and Fabiano needs this one because he would like to have an even score, just as you mentioned, do Andrekin and Paravian. They're playing some complicated Sicilians on that board. The evaluation, I saw the bar was up, and then it went down. Look at that spot by Andrekin on the right side. He took a pawn on c4, distracting that light-scored bishop because it needs to defend the knight. So Andrekin steals a pawn, gets away with it. Fabi, on the left-hand side, he's getting down into that treacherous territory where he's dropping near 10 seconds. He dropped his past a pawn, but look at that tactic. He just won a piece.
Beautiful tactic there, and he should have enough time to put this in to the back of the net. He's got a knight and 2 extra pawns. Quite interesting to keep an eye on this because, we can just see if he's got the speed. He's going to need to have the speed in this match. It's one thing having the winning position, but you've got to have that skill, and he's up to the challenge at the moment. That pawn, very close. It's coming through.
He did great. This was actually exquisite end of bullet game technique there. He 3.7 seconds to opponent's 0 because he was pre-moving, giving a check here and there, and he was keeping his pieces close together. That's really important because if you're pre-moving and your opponent just puts their rook where your rook can take it, but they're of course threatening you, you need to make sure those pieces are defended. So that was really well done from Fabi. He's saying, I am up to the task. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry about me. I can handle myself. But Paravian, he's handling himself. He just delivered a win, it seems, against Andrekin, and so he takes the lead.
He does, yeah. So he edges ahead, and it'll be interesting to see if Dmitry can now come back and level the score. This is the way that match has been going so far. It's been seesawing up and down like the evaluation bar. I've never seen a chess competition with grandmasters where the evaluation bar is so undecided as it is in bullet chess. In bullet chess, the evaluation bar just has no idea where it is. Is it up? Is it down? It changes so often.
I think it's
sorry.
clear here. No, I think it's very clear. You're 100% right that it goes up and down, but right now it's just going down and not in Fabi's favor because he's down a couple pawns, and those pawns are passed in the center of the board.
Yeah, very strong pawns. And, okay, white has some kind of blockade, but it's still at least 2 extra pawns here. And if the black rook can get in and just dislodge white's king, which it's doing now, Fabiano, also down 15 seconds, can probably just resign here, meaning that Dennis goes ahead. And Dmitry, in his game, just to give you an update there, has a chance to level the score, but we're straight back in. And Fabiano's playing the kings in defense a lot, Robert. I mean, it's not normally what he does, but he's obviously done a bit of preparation for this game.
Yeah, so I mean, Fabiano going to the King's Indian, I think he has used that before, even at the highest levels of classical chess, but it's probably just trying to get positions, trying to outplay his opponent. Hasn't worked very well thus far. I mean, look at this game. I think that with the bishop pair, the open board, that Lazvik is doing great stuff. And I mean, this game here, white has all the control of the board.
Yeah, it's funny because often in the King's Indian defense, a lot of the pressure happens on the king side. But so far in all the games, everything's happening on the queen side. And in the last one of these, Fabiano got a very good position as black on the queen side. But in this one, it's white who's dominating. I say that, and it's a little bit unclear. I mean, white's rook will penetrate into the position, but black also has his rook very active. And it looks like even black could be better now all of a sudden, Robert.
Things turn around in a flash, and Fabi could have traded queens and won the b4 pawn a moment ago, but he's going after the white king, and we say this often, that in bullet chess, probably the most important thing, besides keeping some time on your clock, is king safety. And watch out, here it comes. There's threats all over the board. Queen h1's mate.
That was a lovely game. I mean, I love the way he used his queen there at the end. A lot of people would have just swapped queens, taken the pawn. but his queen just weaved in, didn't it? Like a bit of a wriggly worm there into Dennis's position. And that has leveled the score there as well. These are going to be so close, these matches already. We can feel the tension.
Yeah, so wow, what matches we get to start the day with. But it looks like Fabi is playing badly with white. Like, he just won a game with black, and then as soon as he gets the white pieces, he's in trouble. It's not the first time we've seen that today. But on the right-hand side of our screen, we see Paravian with a 1-point lead against Andrekin. That game is messy. If I saw that in classical chess, I wouldn't know how to evaluate it, Simon, because we see it's an exchange up for white. But look at all these pawns in the center, and the fact that white's king looks a bit vulnerable.
Totally agree there. And with the last move, black is getting ready to sacrifice the bishop in front of white's king. And that would actually force some really horrible problems for white. But it might be a draw now. Oh no, the black queen doesn't have a good square. And really, in this position, if white can get the queen off, white is winning. But that's not going to be easy. And white decides he has to give a piece back. But look at that move. The queen does dive in. Is it enough to win, though?
I think there might be... Oh, no. The queen takes d4 as a check. Oh, he just allows it. I was about to say, you need to be very careful with the black king escaping all the checks. Rook d3, that cannot get the job done. And he just goes into the check, and that's the wrong move, and white's going to win?
Oh, all of a sudden, the hunter becomes the hunted. And that black king is now in a horrible situation. And I think there was something even stronger than this, but this is very, very... a very sensible way of doing it. White queens first. That was a very painful loss there for Dmitry.
And that's what we call class, right? The fact that you don't just go for checkmate, but you recognize in a split second that you can trade off all the pieces and win the king and pawn endgame. That was really nicely done. It is unfortunate for Dmitry Andrekin, but I have to kind of give a shout out to David Paravian for spotting that instantly.
Yeah, very good play from David there, who's proving his blitz abilities. Taking a 2-point lead as well. And Dimitri's quite well known for his kind of rather obscure openings at the level he's at. I mean, normally when you're at the 27 sort of 50 level, you're playing main lines, but that's not the way Dmitry plays. And this should give him advantages in the opening. But David is also an opening expert as well. So it's very interesting to see how they're struggling in the opening. White's position here, though, looks fantastic to me, Robert. He's the exchange up and a pawn up as well to boot.
Yeah, I mean, this is just... he's mowing him down. He's just like, give me all your pieces. And he forced resignation. That was as efficient of a win as you can get in Bullet. And there's still 17 minutes on the match clock, so plenty of time for someone who's trailing. And let's not forget, we should remind everybody that it's win by 2. And that was very important yesterday in the matchup between Anish and Jose Martinez. Anish had a lead even in extra time, but he couldn't separate by 2 points. Jose was able to come back and then win the sudden death game.
Yes, that is an important thing. I mean, I think one of the last times I was commentating on chess.com, it was years ago, but this is a new rule. So this is something that we all have to get used to. And going to the position now, white is building up his pieces very nicely around black's king, and there's a big threat here. That rook and the queen can now come in, can't it? Queen takes pawn, and it has taken that pawn using the pin. Black has to resign. There's no good way to stop checkmate in front of the black king on the next move.
Yeah, no, that was a very efficient win. I mean, I said it before. That's another efficient win. And so we see this one still continue to provide entertainment. And I just want to give a shout out to some other Bullet Chess Champion participants, because Hikaru Nakamura, Alireza Firouzja, Magnus Carlsen are all playing a Title Tuesday. So they're playing a Title Tuesday. They're going to finish that and then hop into the BCC. And Hikaru starts 6 out of 6. Firouzja is 6 out of 7. He finishes 7th round. Magnus was 5.5 out of 6 last I checked. So they're also at the top of the standings there. They can't be stopped.
I'm actually playing Title Tuesday at the moment as well on my second computer, just in case you were wondering what I'm doing. Occasionally look over there. And I think I'm on 7 out of 6 as well, just in case you're wondering how my tournament's going. No, I'm certainly not. It's hard enough playing bullet chess. That's a lot of chess for the guys as well, isn't it? That's a hell of a lot of chess.
It really is. And I just want to also note that Fabian Caruana just flagged Denis Lazovic. I watched it happen off to the side, that he flagged his opponent. He gave away material, didn't matter because he had extra time. So that is well done by Fabi, who has taken the lead in their match. And here we see that Andrejkin is in trouble. Pravian, that was the person I predicted to win this match. He's looking like he's well on his way, but there's still almost 15 minutes remaining.
Your predictions are pretty good, Robert. I mean, at the moment, it does seem like Pravian has the upper hand in that match. He seems to be quicker. You look at the time there, he's got a big time advantage, and he's spotting tactics very, very well. And those are the two main things that make you a bullet champion. So I think Dimitri's going to have to change things up. I mean, one good bit of advice I give if you're, in the match it's not going your way, just change your openings. And at this level, the players have so many different openings available to them. They can certainly mix it up. And I think he needs to try something, right, Robert, at the moment, because he's getting in a bit of trouble. And he's going to be now 3 points behind.
Yeah, not good for Andrejkin. He's somebody who does sort of stick to his typical repertoire. And oh my goodness, look at Fabi's bishop on h1. This reminds me of that 960 game where Peter Stridler was playing against Wesley So, and he never got his bishop out of the corner. That is a very terrible piece on h1.
Wow. I'm sure Fabi just wants to get rid of that position, and he does, because that was one of the worst bishops I've ever seen. It was horrendous. And Fabi now on 4 points, the same as Denis. So really close match there as well. And he's sticking to the King's Indian defence. So he's giving this a go, and he's going to get his knight into that middle square first. But maybe White's doing okay here.
Yeah, it's a knight that can blockade a passed pawn. Knights can see over it. So the knight on d3 is staring at the pawn e5, but Black's progress is happening too quickly. Queen and rook lined up on an open file. We saw Fabi deliver a checkmate a few games ago in a similar way, but he did give away a pawn on the king's side, and then Denis gave it right back.
Yeah, it's a similar queen to... Oh, here it comes. Look at that queen. That was a beautiful switch around. And it's checkmate on the boards.
Yeah, that was sick.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, young Denis.
Oh my goodness, that happened in a flash. I mean, that is great full board awareness. That's something that I know I struggle with in speed chess. Is, I get concentrated, I get tunneled on an area of the board. But Fabi was hunting the king, and he quickly recognized that the g6 square was vacated once he took that pawn on h5.
Yeah, that was very good. The switch around to the other side of the board. Not easy to see that sometimes, especially in bullet chess. And I think actually at lower levels, one of the things I notice that lower rated players often don't see is that awareness of the whole board. They focus on one area of the board. They don't look enough on the other side. And you will see these players having very good awareness of all areas of the board.
I have to say, though, when Fabi gets a nice win with Black, he follows it up with kind of a clunker of a game with White. He's right now down a pawn. He's, I guess, getting it back, so something just happened there. But he needs to figure out his White openings because they have not been going his way.
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with you. I mean, yesterday it was his Black openings. He was struggling against the Jabava London system. No surprise there, a brilliant opening. But you would a little bit biased. But you would have thought that someone as well prepared as Fabiano, because he's played World Championship matches, right, would have a great opening repertoire and not be getting in trouble, especially with the white pieces. So it's bizarre that he's getting bad positions with the white pieces. And I see that Naroditsky, Danya, in the chat is also agreeing. The Jabava London system, hello Danya, is a fantastic opening, and Danya has done a very good course on it if you want to learn more about it as well.
Yeah, no, you and Danya both have created a great instructional material for so many people to learn the Jabava London, but this, you don't really need to learn much. When that king is trapped in the corner, there's a boundary there. So unlike other passed pawns, when you have a rook pawn, you cannot win the game. In fact, Fabi might lose this if he's not careful on time, but he's ahead in the clock. He's trying to flag Denis.
He did this before, right? I mean, I like this, though, Robert. Show the younger player, flagging younger players. Oh, he didn't manage it, but, it's a nice idea. Something that I can never do myself, but worth a try.
And the reason why it is hard to flag someone from that position is your king can't move, so you're much more likely to have a 3-time repetition. Danya would not have pushed the a-pawn so fast. He would have waited, spent some moves trying to flag his opponent, then push the king to a8 and pawn to a7. You need to avoid 3-time repetitions in that type of position. It's hard to do. I know I'm just sitting in my chair. I'm not even criticizing. I'm just trying to note that it's what I see from Danya. He played a long match against Minh last night, and he was able to get the job done and win that match. I think they played like 50 games. So, Simon, we're back in the sort of King's Indian structure. Once again, I like White's position. I think that pawns are dropping, and f7 is probably an important one.
Yeah, I mean, the Black King now quite exposed there as well. In the position, and look at this, there's a big threat on the board. Bishop f6, that bishop is threatening just to come in and checkmate Black's king, and I'm not sure if Fabiano has any defense against this, and that's the case. It'll be 5.5 all, which is just yo-yoing about. Okay, he's trying a bit desperately to get out of this, maybe the best chance, but the h-pawn can now come in and do the job. If the queens ever come off, it's a very easy win for White as well, so good fighting here, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, I say that. Important pawn is just one. But the h-pawn comes through.
The h-pawn. Oh! I was about to say that he didn't have enough time, but this suddenly is a draw by repetition.
Wow.
Oh!
Look at this.
Wrong square, though, apparently.
Oh, dear. Oh. Again, the evaluation bar. It just goes crazy. There was a chance there, but in the final position, White had checkmate with g6. So it's all even. This is a really, really close match. To update you very quickly, in the other match, it looks like David has a 4-point lead over Dmitry. So this is probably the match to stay on, I think, Robert, as it's so close.
Yeah, it is. And as you mentioned that match, I just saw that the players upset because they looks like David missed a win in an endgame, but that match continues. It does seem like David has this one in the bag, so he'll move on in the loser bracket. Congratulations. Maybe it's a little too soon. I don't want to jinx him, but it does seem like Dave Provin is in charge. And once again, Fabiano has a terrible position with White. I can't believe I'm saying this because he is one of the best prepared players on the planet, but somehow every game he's had with the white pieces, it feels like he's misplayed it horribly.
His opponent should certainly take note here of what's going wrong, right? Because as you say, whenever you... Well, what's happened here? Okay, Black's getting the piece back, so it's okay. But I never see Fabiano in the problems in the opening that he's actually getting today and yesterday. It's kind of recurring theme. Now the Black Queen comes in. I love this maneuver. Look at that. The Black Queen just sneaking all the way around. And a Rook trying to join in the attack here. This is really, really good play from Dennis. White defending excellently as well so far, though.
Yeah, really nicely done by both players. Dennis still with the advantage, but the knight comes into d5. The king goes to h8, avoiding any sort of checks with discoveries. So I think both players, they have to move fast at this juncture, and they're kind of just moving randomly. That's what it feels like. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a big move, winning the queen there, and also the knight. So the only chance here is to win on time. Blockade is not happening here. Black has too many pawns on the king side, and that rook is very loose as well. There goes a pawn. Important pawn.
I have to say, some pretty decent pre-moves from both sides. That's important to note because it's a win-by-2 match. So even if one player has a lead, you need to have a 2-point lead to win the match. But I think Dennis, he's playing this excellently. The clocks actually are getting close to even, but it's a winning king and pawn in game for Dennis Lazovic. He's taking this.
Yes, that was actually very, very good play from Dennis. Even at the end there, when you're the queen up, if you're not moving quickly, you could even lose that kind of position, which I've done many times before. Hence why, when I'm playing bullet chess, I normally throw my computer out the window and like swear to never play again. it's so hard. Did you like playing bullet yourself, Robert?
No. I'm not a bullet player. It's too much for me. My wrist just starts killing me as soon as I play a few games, and it's at some point you just have to stop thinking about chess, and that's the hard part. Is I'm just playing a game with my mouse versus playing a game of chess. But these two matches have been a lot of fun thus far. It looks like Andreykin, he has cut into the lead a bit, but as soon as we tune into his match, it seems like he has a bad position against Paravian.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem a lot of chess players have. Their wrists getting very aching. And in the match here, yeah, it's looking. I don't know. There's still a chance for Dimitri, right? Still a chance. Well, I don't know. 5 minutes. No, he's got to win this one. It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, he needs to win 2 games to cut it to a 1-point match. But yeah, this game, I can't really see how he wins this unless he somehow wins on time.
Yeah. Only chance there, but it's still going to be after that 2 points and 4 and a bit minutes. So he's not going to do it. It looks like David is going to be going through and playing so well today. Your predictions are spot on. The other match, much closer. Dennis now in the lead by 1 point there. And it looks like he could be going 2 points up. So Fabiano also in trouble in that match.
Yeah, Fabi should just resign this one, get a couple games in, and give himself a chance. But his openings, which are usually his calling card, have been anything but that. I'm looking at that matchup, 2-point lead for Lazovic, and it looks like Paravian, he has been in charge of this match. But Andragan still has technically enough time to strike. If he wins this game and then gets another win, then he still remains in the match.
Yeah, he needs to win quickly here and get another game under his belt. I mean, it looks very unlikely. His position is also a bit dubious there. The match, though, that could be going down to the wire is Fabiano's match. And it's clear that Fabiano must at least get a result here, maybe a win. I kind of feel that he needs to win this game with the white pieces. I like his position. He's got control of the open file. Very surprised that G5 was played there, but this is Black's idea, trying to liberate his dark square bishop. And Fabiano now grabbing some pawns, but oh dear, look at that, Robert. He's blundered.
He has to resign, but that was a really well-played start to the game, and then just completely unaware that his opponent was going to give him a check and win a rook on d1. So Fabi, I thought, played like a superb opening, a change of pace from the earlier games. But yeah, that was not a finish. It was a bit reckless, you could say, by just taking all the queenside pawns.
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's having that sense of danger, which is so important in all kinds of chess. It's a lot harder to get that sense of danger in bullet chess. But one thing I've noticed that Dennis is doing excellently is weaving his queen into the position. So, he's using that queen so well. Yeah,
and right now, for Dennis over here, he has just stolen an H-pawn in front of the black king. The position remains a bit locked up, and Fabi says, locked up no more. Let's go. Knight takes b3 may be a viable tactic at some point. He instead plays a4. But the eval bar says it's Fabi's here. That bishop on e3 is loose. Great tactical awareness from Fabi.
What Dennis should do now is not resign, but draw down the clock. I mean, he is 3 points ahead. So just trying to play some moves that will annoy Fabiano. And there's only 2 minutes left. So in actual fact, if he doesn't even move, he will win this match now. That's a bit of a shock. I expected Fabiano to go through, but this young Dennis, he's proven to be quite some player, right? I mean, he's very good at the quicker time limits for sure.
Dennis the Menace, but Fabi, if he wins this, he does get another game, and if he wins that, he cuts it to 1. So, Simon, there is a chance. I am saying there's a chance, especially now that Fabi just picked up the queen and is winning this game.
Yeah. Is it 1 point now, or is it 2? We're getting an update on that soon. It might only be. There might not be enough time. And I love that nickname, Dennis the Menace. I bet a lot of people watching this don't even know what Dennis the Menace is anymore. But when you're my age, you're well aware what Dennis the Menace was. Great cartoon character.
And by the way, Dennis taking your advice, not resigning, not making that final move. But the game, it's going to take off. So 1 minute remains, which means that this last game will count. And it might not actually be the last game if Fabiano can win it. So it's win or you're out for Fabi. He is the white pieces. He needs to play much better than he has when he's had the first move advantage.
Do you know what I forgot, Robert? I forgot you need a 2 point lead. Mm-hmm. This is my mistake. So, well spotted there, Robert. That actually, if Fabiano wins, it's only going to be a 1 point lead. And that would mean that Dennis has to win the next one, of course, to get it. So this is, as you say, a chance. It's a chance for Fabiano. The match is not over, but Fabiano must win. It's what's he done there? He hasn't walked into a fork, has he?
Whoa,
Not quite.
What was that? What was that by Dennis? He just gave us queen.
I think it was a mouse slip. I think he mouse slipped in a pretty good position.
Oh my goodness! And now he's just getting checkmated.
Wow, what a stroke of luck that was. Unbelievable, and there's only going to be a 1 point in it now.
So
that must have been a mouse slip there, I think, Robert. The only thing that could explain it.
It definitely was a mouse slip. The question I have, now that Dennis resigned, did he resign after the match clock hit 0 or before? Because if the match clock didn't hit 0, a draw would still keep the match going. I guess it still does anyway. It doesn't really matter. But it changes when the 6th game of extra time begins. So that was absolutely bizarre. I think Dennis was deserving to have the lead this match. He did manage himself better than Fabiano did, just getting an advantage throughout the openings and converting them. But Simon, we know how it is in chess. Psychology, how the match is going, trajectories. It probably doesn't feel very good for him right now.
No, I mean, maybe even feels a bit worse because they got a break, right? I mean, when you lose a game like that, you might just want to get back into it and be like, bang, I need to play. But okay, the match situation is very, very intense here. And let's just remind everyone, Dennis needs to get a 2-point lead. So if he wins this game, he goes through. But if Fabiano can draw or win, he stays in the competition. This is really exciting stuff. And I love what Fabiano is doing here, getting lots of play on the queen side, Robert.
Yeah, congratulations to David Paravian. It was sort of a foregone conclusion, so we didn't remember to congratulate him on his match victory, but well done against his compatriot Dmitry Andreikin. And in this game, as you said, it looks good for black. It's kind of like a Benko Gambit where you haven't sacrificed a pawn.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Benko Gambit is a very dynamic opening to play, but as you mentioned, Robert, black still has that A pawn here. Okay, we can see Dennis pushing on the king side. This is a risky strategy because you're also opening up your own king. So whose king is going to be weaker? Is it the white king or the black king? That's what this game is going to go down to, I think. And what's this? An exchange sacrifice?
He wanted bishop e6, rook h1 mate, but I think he might have forgot that the bishop could take on d4, freeing the g7 square for the black king. And suddenly we see it is the white king in danger with that rook coming to h8, but that move f5, it could be scary for black.
Absolute mess on the board here. Both kings are in real problems here. f6 looks very tempting. This move, threatening queen takes g6, but black gets the rook in first, and now black seems to be very safe. And also, Fabiano has been using his queen brilliantly to infiltrate into the position. And here comes that queen again.
But Fabiano cannot lose this game, and I'm looking at the clock. He can't lose, he can draw. A draw is okay, but why draw when you're picking up a rook?
Oh, he's got to win this. He's got 11 seconds, but he's completely winning. We have checkmate on the board. Whoa, Dennis has got to be feeling rather depressed now. It's 8.5 all.
Oh my goodness, this is where tilt cannot happen. Not at this stage. And Dennis, he's doing his best here with the black pieces. You see the eval bar saying that black is better. So Dennis is showing his might, his great preparation from the black side. He's such a sturdy player. So we'll see if he can right the ship right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think more, he's got to bounce back psychologically from 2 losses in a row. And that has just happened. So white's position, okay. I mean, still quite like white, no matter what the evaluation bar says. But black's also got his knight to a fantastic square. Probably about even at this moment in time.
And that pawn push to h5 was to stop black from playing g5. The bishop on f4 doesn't have many squares, but this open file for the white rook, that's the most valuable one. Black's rooks, they're staring into pawns and pieces. That rook on a6, hitting a7 and e6.
I mean, I think I'm going to, I was wondering whether I should say this, but this is why Fabiano is such a star. Because how he deals with pressure, right? I mean, he's dealt with the highest levels of pressure. He's got that extra experience. And he seems to be taking over the match now. If he wins this game, it's going to be the end. And look at that pawn dropping. The light squares look so weak. There goes another pawn. But black does have this B pawn to stir up some tricks.
Yeah, but h6, the black king is just in too much danger, and this is over. I mean, the black king is just getting mated, it would seem. So Fabiano is going to take, his 4th game in a row. I feel for Denis Lazovic. I mean, it's no fun to be in a match where you feel like you have it almost in the bag, and suddenly Fabi reaches into his bag of tricks and takes 4 in a row, and he is the lead for maybe the first time all match.
Yep, he has the lead, and he just needs to win this game with the black pieces. So what a comeback from Fabiano. This has been very inspiring, and he's going for the same setup where most of the action will happen on the queen side, and they both have a lot of experience in this position. If black can generate that play, okay, but he's switching to the king side here. I kind of like this idea. Some of those dark squares on the king side look quite nice on black if black can get his pieces into them.
But look at this, queen f2, queen takes h4. It's not quite in time, so he goes for the pawn in this manner. And yeah, do you care about that pawn? It's compensation very clearly in the dark squares for black.
Definitely. Look at black's dark square bishop. This looks like fantastic compensation for black. I mean, no matter what the evaluation bar says, it's king safety, which is often the most important thing. But that is 2 pawns. Is it 2 pawns too many? Maybe.
Especially now that the light squares are about to be hopped into. That knight on d4 going right into f5. Ooh, the black king on h7, not exactly the happiest piece. And d6 was hanging, so he tried to trade queens, but then g5 falls. No, this is going to be Lazarev's game, and this would be a very nice bounce back for him.
Yeah, he needs it. He needs to win this game. And are we going to see a sudden death? I always lose track of what the sudden death point is. It goes so quickly, but we will get an update on that, because obviously they can't just keep going to and froing. At the moment, there's not really anything between them.
Yeah, it's the 4th game now of 6. So there's no separation between these two. 9.5, 9.5. And they can afford to lose. If you can remember in the back of your head that it's win by 2, and that actually takes a bit of pressure off this individual game. But once again, Fabi has a bad position with the white pieces. I don't think I've ever seen this from him.
I have no idea what's going on with his openings. I mean, just switch them up. Look at white's king. White's king is so weak. Your pawn on g4 shouldn't be there. It gives a little bit of air around your king. You expose your king. Never good to expose yourself. Just remember that, people. You want to keep your clothes on when you're in public. And that white king, it's just too naked, I feel.
And somehow he's surviving. So it's been a good defensive effort thus far from him. But if he gets his bishop trapped on e3, that also will be game over, even if it's not checkmate.
Black's certainly still pushing here, I think, Robert. I mean, white, as you say, is doing a great job defending, but that is an important pawn that black has picked up here. And now black just trying to go into the ending. White is a pawn down, but with really bad coordination with his piece as well. Look at the black knight right in the middle of the board, dominating the board there.
And the piece we haven't spoken about is the 17th piece, the clock. And it's all up in Denis Lazarev's favor. Fabi, he's losing on the board. He's losing on time. So unless Denis blunders, and we have seen him lose his queen in an unfortunate way in that final game of regular time, this is Denis's game, and it's clear right now that he is going to win.
Yeah, and yeah, there's nothing that can be done here. That pawn on e3 in front of white's king is just too strong. The black king can now motoring, but he's going for the ending, and 1 game away from winning the match. So again, Fabiano needs to get a result here.
And we'll see if he can perform with the black pieces, because the first move advantage has been good for neither side. Like, they want black every time. If you said 1 game Armageddon, they're both spending all their time, give me the black pieces, because they have not been getting it done with white. But as soon as I say that, I'm looking at this one. It's looking like a mixed bag where white has this nice central bishop on d4, but black is trying to make use of the queen side.
Yeah, I like black's bishop on the queen side, and now the knight is popping in as well. Denis is just going for it on the king side. And when you swap off that dark square bishop of black's, the black king is always weak here. And practically speaking, that king can get in a lot of trouble on f5. Now the white queen has a way, and this could be it. This could be the end. That black king is just so weak here.
Uh-oh, is there mate? Queen h6? Where's the checkmate? I don't see it. Oof. Oh, it's a back rank mate. And queen takes e7. That's game. That's going to be match.
Brilliant play there from Denis. Oh, there's nothing that can be done. And Denis takes it down. Wow. And look at all those medals behind him as well. Just to intimidate his opponents, he's lining up the medals there. He's got so many for a 17-year-old, but taking down Fabiano is impressive, right? Really impressive.
I think we just saw Denis breathe for the first time in about an hour. He is able to escape and move on in the losers bracket. So David Paravian and Denis Lazovic, they say, I don't care that I'm playing Super GMs. I got this. And they did. They move on. Dmitry Andreikin, Fabiano Caruana, they get $2,000 for their efforts, but we have to say goodbye to our first two contestants of the 2023 Bullet Chess Championship.
Yeah, we do. It's always sad to lose such legends of the game as Dmitry and Fabiano there. And that match with Fabiano was so close. It looked like he was going to do it, Robert. He came right back into the match, but they both showed some great resolve there.
For sure. And because that match went into extra time, it means we're going to take a look at the bracket, see these players moving on. We don't know who they're going to face because people drop down from the winner's bracket once they lose. So Dennis and David, they get to play again, but we don't know who they're going to face because, well, let's look at the top of this bracket here. There are 8 players in the winner's side of things, and one of them will drop down to face David Paravian or Denis Lazovic. But as I was saying, because we did just go into extra time, it means we're going to have to head on over shortly for a break because when we return, there's much more chess to be had. It's Bullet Chess, it's wild, it's fun. You will not want to miss more from the Bullet Chess Championship Day 2 here in 2023.
Chess Kid is fun. Chess is great for the brain, but it's also fun to play. And Chess Kid makes it easy to have fun. Whether your child is a total beginner or a prodigy, they can hop on and find a well-matched opponent from around the world at any time. Chess Kid is the safe, parent-approved way for your child to play chess online. Chess Kid is educational. To kids, it feels just like playing, but chess is a great way to learn patience, strategy, and critical thinking. Chess Kid features a comprehensive training program that guides kids to level up on their way to mastery. There are more than 50,000 chess puzzles and a whole library of entertaining videos that teach strategies, tactics, openings, and endgames specifically for kids. Chess Kid is easy. Whether you're a parent helping your child, a coach managing dozens of kids, or a school of hundreds. Signing up is free and easy, so what are you waiting for?
What's the best way to follow any chess event from the Champions Chess Tour to the Candidates, Speed Chess Championship, Title Tuesday, FIDE World Championship, and so much more? Chess.com/events has all of the top chess tournaments played both over the board and online. Analyze and review games from the world's greatest players with live commentary, cloud analysis, opening explorer, and table bases. Find all the key event information, including schedules, prizes, results, news reports, player bios, tie breaks, and more. Even compete by voting for your predicted results. Explore chess.com/events today on web or with our iOS and Android apps and experience chess like never before.
And we are back here at the Bullet Chess Championship. We just said goodbye to 2 players, Dmitry Andreikin and Fabiano Caruana, but we say hello to 2 more matches. Simon, these games, these matches have been so entertaining. We just got more extra time. What do you expect to see coming up?
More excitement. It's been quick, it's been fast, and the other thing we're seeing is the matches are a lot closer now. That last one, Fabiano, just going out in the tie-break scenario. And our next match as well, they're still in the losers bracket. Let's remind everyone that. So it's the last chance salute for the players. If any of these players lose the match, they do go home. You get the double chance in this tournament, so it's double pressure. And any feelings about these matches, Robert?
Well, I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, something that maybe our viewers don't know about. When we're talking about the upcoming matches, Eric Hansen is taking on Arjun Erigaisi. And Arjun Erigaisi, I'm looking at it on my phone, he's playing in Biel in a classical game against Yu Gangyi, trying to defend a worse position. So as we look at our next 2 matchups, we may in fact only have one because one of these matches may be decided by forfeit.
Right. And that does mean at least we can concentrate on Anish's match. And it's also pretty good news for Eric. I know Eric would love to win his match by playing, but still, if you get through to the next round, you get a little bit more money in the pocket. Not a bad thing, is it, for him? And he can have another cocktail as well.
Yeah, I think those cocktails were free. We heard his brother making them. So regardless, Eric Hansen, unless something changes in Arjun Erigaisi's over the board game, it will be Eric going through. But somebody who needs to prove that they are capable of making it through is Anish Giri. He is the star from the Netherlands. He won Tata Steel Masters section earlier this year. That was a huge deal for him. 5-time Dutch champion. He defeated Jordan van Forest in tiebreak again this year, and he is appearing in his first Bullet Chess Championship. So we've seen his successes in many different time patrols, but this is his first foray into the treacherous jungle that is the BCC.
Yeah, I mean, it was really close. If you were watching yesterday, everyone out there, you can maybe just recall his match that he had against Jose, and that went down again to the wire. And Jose is a very well-known bullet player, and Anish not so much. But we did see lots of positive things from Anish in that match. He was getting good positions. He was actually playing incredibly quickly as well at the right moments. And I mean, that must surely make him favourite there. I mean, he's a higher-rated chess player, and he was pretty quick, right, Robert?
Yeah, he was very fast, and somebody who did not have his best day yesterday, but it's hard to have your best day when you're playing against Hikaru Nakamura, was Minh Ohanian, the Armenian international master. He's working towards that GM title. He's very close. I expect in a couple months he will have it, but he did really lose a tough matchup, and I say tough not because it was close and he can be heartbroken about it, but just because you're playing Hikaru, and if you lose 22.5 to 1.5 like he did, that's going to happen to most players in the world. So Anish, he doesn't really come into this match knowing what to expect, I'd imagine, because, yeah, his opponent lost to Hikaru, and that's just par for the course.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Hikaru can make everyone look like an idiot when he plays them. He's just so remarkably strong. Both players now getting ready. We can see them on the camera. And I thought yesterday that... there was some resemblance between Eric Hansen and Minh. I don't know. Does anyone else see that, or is that just me seeing that? I'm not sure. Do you see that, Robert? Do you reckon Minh has a little bit of Eric Hansen about him, or am I just imagining that?
Maybe with his style. Anish has played for the chess bras. Maybe in the future, Minh will be a chess bra because his shirt, I like it. I think he's wearing a good one today, but he really has his work cut out for him because Anish Giri is a super grandmaster, and oftentimes super gyms aren't that great at bullet chess because they're not playing it. Anish is different. He's built different, and he is really strong at bullet, as we saw yesterday.
He is. He's incredibly good at bullets, and he's got to be the big favourite, but you never know. Minh playing okay, and as the match has started, and we're seeing a dragon. Dangerous opening from Anish.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that he's going for these kind of hostile lines, but you see by how quickly he's playing, he's well prepared, he's not afraid. And I did message with Anish, full disclosure, he and I talked yesterday. He was disappointed by his loss. He felt like he could have won that match. Towards the end, there was some night end game where he was up a couple pawns, and he felt like he really let that match go. So he is not just a person who's saying, oh, I'm going to come to the World Chess Championship and I'll play a couple matches, and if I bow out, that's okay. He wants to win his matches, and, well, he's not off to the best start here. Ohanian has a good position with white.
Yes, I mean, the Dragon is a very risky opening to play, and white does seem to be doing pretty well here with that lovely open file and some, I'd say, better pawn structure here. Anish pushing on the king side, though, making a bit of progress there. And I'm surprised the evaluation bar was so high in white's favour, and it's actually now dropped to say it's pretty even position.
And suddenly the Black Knight, I mean, it's working its way, maneuvering. Oh, he went backwards. I thought he wanted to go forwards, but his king was in the e-file and the pawn was pinned. But he just blundered.
He just blundered. Just a big blunder there. And now white has a completely winning position. You've still got to make the breakthrough, though. Not so simple to do, and this is a good idea when you've got extra material. Make exchanges. Anish trying to complicate the matter.
Wait, did he just
white must be winning this.
Did he have pawn takes e4 and rook d5 checkmate? Like, that was very close with that king on c5. But speaking of checkmate, that king on a6 has no moves. So if you can somehow...
It's a draw.
To draw.
What a draw. You won't see many draws like this.
Look at Ohanian. He's like, he can't believe it. He's beside himself. It was the first game of the match. He had the upper hand. But that was good recognition by Anish. He spotted the king had no escape squares. Let's just go back and forth.
Yeah, that was an exciting first game to get us started there. And maybe a bit worrying for Anish fans, as his position was the worst, but he did manage to recover. And this next game now, seems like black is doing totally okay out of the opening.
Yes, and doing well in the clock. I don't know where Anish spent 16 plus seconds, but the position looks about neutral for the two sides. I'm just going to be worried about Anish's clock until he can prove to me that he is going to keep a steady pace.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer actually to be black here, because black has more space, and it's often easier to move when you have that space advantage. There's a bit of a weakness in the middle of the board. You see this pawn, the d3 pawn. Black's rooks are lined up against that pawn. And look at that black knight. The black knight has now landed and captured that pawn. So black goes a pawn up. White struggling here, and black playing very well. But, I don't like that decision. You're giving white a big pass pawn.
Oh, I hated that. I mean, normally I don't use such strong language, but that giving white a protected pass pawn on the rim, that had to be a bad decision. And I don't know if Anish can make progress here. He might just go back and forth, but black can't move the knight from d5. The pawn e3 is loose. The rook on a8 can't move, otherwise that pawn goes up to a6. So it feels like both sides are... Oh, Anish going for the win. I was going to say both sides were stuck.
Yeah, interesting decision from Anish there. I think he just realizes that his a pawn is so strong. And black has to really, as he is here, remain tied down because of that one little pawn. But, black does have this pawn on e3 as well. And I love what black's doing. I thought he's going to bring his king over to stop that pawn. He's changed his mind.
Yeah, and he gave up his pass pawn, but he's taken all of white's queenside pawns. And now it's a time scramble. Look at Anish. He's ahead on the clock. He's going to try to flag Ohanian.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can. Wow, look at the speed they're playing at. And
King
dear,
B7.
King B7. And white's winning.
Mm-hmm.
Can he do this in time?
Yeah, he definitely has this. We saw his mouse skills yesterday. For Anish, this is just easy.
Easy. Remarkable it is easy. And wow, impressive play from Anish there, Robert. And again, I think Minh is going to be kicking himself. He had a great position, but Anish playing for the win in what could have been, what should have been probably a drawn position. So brave play as well from Anish.
You mentioned brave play. I like the openings that we're getting. This isn't some kind of static positional battle. We are seeing some serious tactical fireworks, and we're getting another Sicilian. The black king's on h8, staying off that a2, g8 diagonal from the light square bishop. But as I look at this position, I'm waiting. I was about to say waiting for the strike, and there it is. Whoa.
Oof. A lovely counter idea from Anish, threatening checkmate on G2. I see that we have someone in the chat saying, I can't follow this, guys. Can you ask him to slow down, please? I do feel the same myself quite often. It'd be good. I think chess.com need to make a slow motion button, Robert, for these events. You can just press it and everything's in slow motion for like old people like me, more leisurely pace.
Yeah, no, I think that to actually analyze the chess, that would be good for everybody, including the players. And that's why the Speed Chess Championship exists. Whoa, that was apparently winning for black, and then went to losing with that move. Nice find by you and by Ohanian.
Bang. And the queen is coming into the position. This is the end. You can't even take that bishop because knight f6 wins the white queen. And a big win there for Minh, and he's gonna level the score.
Yeah, 1.5. He's as many points as he did yesterday against Hikaru. And as we said, when you play Hikaru, that kind of thing happens. Minh Ohanian is a fantastic bullet player. He qualified his way into this field. And so we'll see if Anish can bounce back after that tough third game. But with the white pieces, he's going for what I like to call the super GM slow death, right? You go for like the slight advantage into the end game and then try to outlast your opponent.
Yeah, it's probably a good strategy. This is the kind of position that Anish really likes playing. It's kind of risk-free. And you have this square in the center of the board. I think black is doing okay here, but it's just easier for white to play. His pawns can advance a little bit quicker than black's. And there you go. He has created a weakness on the left-hand side of the board. I don't know if I like that decision, Robert, of getting rid of that knight there.
You and I both had the same reaction at the same time, Simon. I was like, that cannot be good. This is classic case of fantastic. That's a stallion on d4. It's untouchable. Not a single black piece can attack it. And that bishop on d7, it's staring into all sorts of brick walls. So this is a knight a6 check. There was a fork there, so that's why the rook moved. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be mop-up duty for Anish now.
Yeah, as you say, Robert, it's still, I think, very good for white, right? It's a case of that bishop is not a good piece in this ending.
Take on h5, play f5, play f6, you win the pawn in game.
Oh, lovely. Lovely play. One of the best endgame players in the world, Anish. Now he's got a decision to make. Why didn't he take that one? I'm not sure. Because of this move. Wow. Brilliant play.
And it apparently is not winning for white. It feels like it should be. He's trying to go for he's trying to kick the king out, shoulder it, but now the king's come back towards the pawn. So as Anish, he's going for the clock. Look at the time. Anish just needs to keep his c3 pawn defended and move his knight around a bunch. Oh, but he put his knight on the worst square.
Oh dear, And that was a big miss for Anish. Anish had a good chance there to get a lead in that one. He had a brilliant ending and very good save from Minh. And now we're seeing a bit more of a maneuvering game here.
Yes. Oh, the F file open. There could be pressure against the black king, but I think that's a learning moment, a teaching moment for Anish, where he could have won that game by flagging Ohanian, but he put his knight on the rim, and they say knights on the rim are dim, and that was actually a good example of why it just got trapped over there, so he couldn't just hop around the board. But in this game, this looks pretty good for white if I didn't have the eval bar for the side, but it says black is better.
That evaluation bar does trick me as well. I was thinking exactly the same. I was thinking the black king is weak here. You have a great chance to attack it. And the evaluation bar's catching up with us, Robert.
Whoa.
We were right all along there, of course.
Yes, of course. And h6 is hanging, but for some reason it allowed the e-pawn to go forward, as it does, knight f5 at some moment. So it does seem like black is holding everything together, but I'm with you. It just felt like, okay, now it is winning for white.
Little trick, though. If you take the knight, there's a queen check.
Oh.
And you're going for it because of this move. That was really well calculated. And now the black king surely in a checkmate net here.
But where is the knockout? Maybe king h1. Now that your rook on f1 is defended, play king h1. But he's not finding it. And I think he might stumble into repetition if he's not careful.
Wow. Well, he's going for the ending. I mean, this is a backup thing that he has with the extra material. And he's just keeping it very simple here.
So can he... Oh, you see the eval bar go down because he can't trade the queens like he wanted to.
Yeah. Queen endings are notoriously tough because there's so many checks that are just impossible to calculate. And as white here, you could fall into perpetual. I like what white's doing, but very nearly a perpetual check. It's just on the clock. Just on the clock.
But Anish put his queen, he gave a check, but he walked into a counter check, and now it's clear it's a win for Ohanian. So Minh Ohanian, he is a determined player right now. He was not happy with his performance yesterday, and he's saying, I already have more points today, double that I did yesterday.
He's playing great chess today as well. I really like what he's doing. He's not only playing tactics as a mix of positional play. And into this game, well, Anish has got to keep the score close. Interesting what Anish has done. Those white pawns in the middle, are they strong or are they weak? They're double pawns, but they do cover a lot of squares. And sometimes having double pawns in the middle of the board is a good thing. Because here, for example, you stop the black knights from jumping into the position.
Yeah, the knight on e6 and g6, where are they going exactly? The answer is nowhere anytime soon. And the d6 pawn now is a bit tender, but look at those rooks for black. They are putting pressure on the white king side, and white barely in time to defend.
Yeah. And will we have a mass exchange here? Nope, the black knight dives in. Queen and knight, notoriously tricky. Okay. White has a bit more space here, but black has the better structure.
Much better structure, but I get... Oh, an e4 looks very tender. Queen g6 I thought was going to be the way.
Good spot there, Robert. I think that would have won a pawn quite nicely. And he can play it now as well. There was another chance to get the black queen to where the knight is.
But... Oh, when he went king f1, it was the fork.
And he tried it again, but it's not quite as strong now.
And now the white king is perfectly placed. I like the king on d3 because then you can get your knight back. You protect the c4 pawn.
Yeah, Anish now defending very well here.
b5.
And he gets a great square for his knight. This could actually turn.
And don't
white
play
knight. Yeah.
Don't play queen b4, I was going to say, because then queen takes f6 check. There are all sorts of knight forks. But this is clearly turning for white.
Yeah. Draw quite lightly, but again, it comes down to the clock here. Should be a draw. They just have to keep each other's kings out of the position, but black is very short of time. Is that a draw? I think that was a draw.
But that's
another close game, Robert.
That's a mistake, Simon. He could have flagged him. Lose all your pieces except for one pawn. As long as you win on time, you get a full point. I think Anish, he needs to be more shameless. He needs to stop thinking, oh, what's the best move, and just go for the flag. Because he had the position where Minh had to force opposition. That takes some time. Just bring your king back a couple times and then see what happens. So I think that he wasted an opportunity.
Robert, I'm always I feel a little bit dirty after flagging my opponents like that. I kind of feel like, oh, I don't know if I should have done that. But it is a legitimate part of the game, right? You have to flag them in the dirtiest manner possible. Is that what I've got to do? I've got to start being a bit more cold-hearted, right?
I think so. And I actually see Danya talk about this on stream quite a bunch, where people are like, why didn't you accept that person's draw offer? And it's like, well, they had 2 seconds to my 20 seconds. Like, I don't owe them a draw, and especially not in a competition. And Anish is doing well with the black pieces. He's blockaded his opponent's passed pawn. Those are isolated pawns for white. And you mentioned this in a previous match. Look at the color of the bishops, right? Light square bishops, and white's pawns are in light square. So I think that Anish should go after those pawns.
Yeah. He does have the better structure, and if that black king can ever come towards the queen side, it's going to be very dangerous. Black's certainly the one pushing here. You're right, though. I mean, the clock is so important, and winning on time is legitimate, because if someone's moving slower, it means they're getting more time to think about their moves, so you should use that against them. But, flagging, big part of the game.
In this game, Anish might win on the board, but he should look to flag his opponent again, because I see the time difference is 6+ seconds in Anish's favor. So I don't care what the evaluation is, unless he gives up a queen, which he hasn't. Just flag him right now.
Just go for the flag. Let's see if he can do it. Maybe this is a very important one to keep an eye on. And also black's pawns are making a lot of progress, right?
Yeah, now black just might just win. But even if that pawn is lost on a2 somehow, and now he's getting promoted, this is not even shameless. You just make random rook moves on dark squares, and you win the game.
Yeah. It is a drawn position, this, technically, in classical chess, but there you go. Can I call that a dirty flag? I don't think so. There's no such thing as a dirty flag. No, that's wrong to say that.
In bullet chess, I mean, flagging is literally what you aim to do, right? It's like you're just not. Of course, you're not trying to play the best possible chess. Otherwise, you would play with more than a minute on your clock. So I think that for Anish, that should get him in the flow. But for Ohanian, I mean, he's still even after that loss. He's playing a good match thus far, and he's playing very solidly and quickly out of the opening stage.
Yeah. So if one side can win this game, they will take a lead in the match. I really like White's position. The White Queen and the White Knights making a great advancement on the king side. That H-pawn now gripping the light squares. Look at the light squares. That White Knight coming into a light square. Now the light squares opening up. A great rook swing here. Black defending well, though.
Oof.
I say defending well, but maybe not, Robert.
Well, there is no well because the problems are endless, and here just bishop takes h6 is going to lead to a checkmate. So I think Ohanian will just resign.
That was a smooth game. That was a quality game from Anish. So Anish now ahead in the match. And Minh, can he bounce back in this one?
We'll find out, but I think when you flag someone like that, it actually can build your confidence in bullet, where you say, oh, I had so much extra time. Like, I have things under my control, and that was a very controlled game just there from Anish.
Yeah, definitely. And just a bit of news, I think, in Erik Hansen's match, it doesn't seem like Erigaisi has turned up or may make it to the game, which is good news for Erik fans, as he might progress to the next round and we get more Erik. Maybe we see more of his cocktails. I'm looking forward to seeing what will be coming out next.
I pulled up my phone, which I normally don't do on broadcast, but I don't know if people can see it, but that's the game that Arjun Erigaisi is currently in against Yu Yengi. So they're still playing an endgame, which means that Erik Hansen moves on. Arjun Erigaisi has forfeited because he's busy trying to defend a classical game of chess. But that's neither here nor there because Minh Ohanian, he wants to even the score. Simon, I think he's doing a great job with the white pieces. Look at the pressure down the A file and a protected pass pawn on C5.
Yeah, he's playing very well here. That pressure on the queen side is good. I mean, it does look like Anish is at least now attacking. The white queen is rather peculiar on that square. It's trapped itself in. Maybe it's not a big deal. Nice maneuver of the white knight here.
Yeah, this has been strange. The queen on h2 not participating, but it doesn't have to when you have a beautiful knight on f4, and there the queen has wrapped back around, but suddenly black is going for the attack.
The evaluation bar really doesn't know where it stands, but it's generally always in white's favour. If the white queen can join in, it will be the end, and here comes the white queen.
And I think
getting into the position.
Anish needs to try some kind of f4 at some moment. Like, just throw your pawns forward. Oh, or not. Just steal the pawns.
Yeah. Ooh. Look at these tactics there.
Has to be good for white. C7. Oh.
Yeah. C7 looks good, but he's lost that pawn now. Oh, big check there. Big check.
Yeah, it's a win.
He picks up the rook.
That was nasty by Ohanian. He noticed the forking distance between the rook and king, and he takes that one with 3.6 seconds to spare. So even match. Simon, I feel like this has felt very back and forth where, sure, there have been some spoiled chances in individual games, but on the whole, it seems like 4.5 is completely reasonable based on what we've seen.
Totally agree. This opening has been working for Anish now, and I guess, Robert, one thing you get in these matches, you have to feel out your opponent in the first 8 games. So you've got to work out where they might be a little bit weak in the opening, and where you should be probing them. And maybe this is something that Fabiano didn't quite do enough right. He didn't change his openings, but I like what Anish is doing. This opening seems to be getting in good positions with the white pieces.
Yeah, you got the knight blocking the pawn d4, and Chessbra, Erik Hansen, says only way to win. I don't think he's talking about 2 knights versus 2 bishops. Winning by 4, that's still a win. We count that as a dub. You move on, so take that and enjoy it, and we will certainly enjoy seeing you tomorrow playing in your next match. But I think that this game right here, I don't know if it's enjoyable for either side. I feel like there's so much tension in the center right now. And F5, oh, I do not like that move. You just handed your opponent a pass pawn if he goes E6.
Yeah, it's a block position, and it's kind of well known that in block positions, the knight is a fantastic piece, and it might look like the black bishop is getting quite active, but I have a lot of faith in the white knight here. I say that, and the black king creeps in, but I still prefer white at this moment. Okay, I still prefer white at this moment. No, I don't. Black's doing well. What am I talking about? I'm talking rubbish.
Just don't blunder a fork, and I think that everything's under control. But knight f5 at some moment could be annoying for black to deal with. That's why he's thinking, do I go king c3 or not? That was a nice move because that knight has to stay in front of the e-pawn.
Yeah, he's squeezing that knight there. It's still not easy to win for black, but the pawns are dropping and just has too many pawns there.
And
what happened there? Was I wrong in thinking that white was doing well? It just changed so quickly.
White was doing well, and you mentioned how closed board favors the knight. Anish suddenly opened the board. The black king ran up 10 extra seconds for Ohanian when that game just ended. There are only 8.5 minutes left in this match. We should remind everybody, like we have been, it's win by 2. And considering that this match has gone back and forth, it's hard to imagine somebody jumping out to a 2-point lead. That feels like 20, considering how tight this one has been. But with only just over 8 minutes remaining, the players need to keep that in the back of their minds.
Yeah, certainly, and you know, it seems that when one player wins, the other player just levels the score here. Okay, a little tactic there, and it looks like white has grabbed a pawn pretty much for free there. Mm-hmm. It's a useful pawn to grab because it actually means your knight on c3 can never get kicked away, and this could now be a good chance to get a little bit of a lead over Anish or Minh.
One of the big questions that we always have is you look at the clock, you look at the board, right? Which is more important? And I guess that was a bit aimless by Anish. The e4 pawn, it seems like it's loose, but now it's not because the knight just planted itself on d5.
Yeah, I think Anish could have got away with taking that one, but he decided to play it safe. And when you play the Sicilian as black, playing it safe is something you don't really have the luxury of doing. Now, at the right moment, white will be playing c5 here. Okay, this is another way of doing it. Black gets the pawn back now, though.
I forgot the rooks defend each other through the white rook. That felt like a blunder at first to me.
It did, but I think Anish has just blundered there by allowing that a-pawn to become so strong. And white's position is a lot easier to play now. You just use the a-pawn to harass black.
Queen.
And this is...
Oh. Ugh. I guess you had to do that because the rook on a3 was loose, but who likes a rook on g3? This isn't Dingley Wren versus Jan de Palm machine.
Yeah. Oh, blunder there. Oh. Blunder. And Anish going 2 points down now.
Okay.
And it was surprising. I mean, we looked at the game. Let's just remind everyone what the score was yesterday, right? I mean, got destroyed, right, yesterday. Got absolutely destroyed, and here he's showing just what he's capable of doing, playing brilliant chess. Probably a little nod towards Hikaru there, right? Because Hikaru just went straight through him yesterday. Got a massive score.
And yeah, I think more than anything, as you're implying, it shows just how strong Hikaru Nakamura is in bullet chess. That he beat somebody who is very talented, who's right now leading against Anish Giri 22.5 to 1.5. That was insane, for lack of a better word. And we see this queen on c3. In these London systems, that queen can be in trouble, it can be attacked, but it's safely sitting on that square. What I did like a moment ago was Anish's lead on the clock. That has disappeared, and it's about a level game according to the engines.
Yeah. If Anish loses another one, though, it's going to be 3 down with only about 5 minutes to go. So it's getting to a very tense stage now. Anish can't lose, I don't know, many more games, maybe even this one.
Yeah, you say
Do
many.
we like his position? Yeah.
Can't maybe lose any, and I did like it. Watch out, knight of 6. Watch out for that that check hitting the queen on d7.
Nice spot there. Black does dodge it, and the black queen now coming right into the guts, and black has this dangerous pass pawn backed up by another black pawn. Black's position looking pretty good here.
When that knight is going to d6 to steal b7 at some point. It looks like that might be... it protects c4. That knight is a hero on d6.
It is. Anish just holding on at this moment in time. But he's up on time as well.
And he's going to win. The c-pawn is going forward, and he's well ahead in the clock. I mean, that Anish has been, I think, the better of the two in mutual scrambles. I'll give him credit for that. But he has been a bit inaccurate in key moments, allowing his opponent to make draws in those scrambles.
Yeah. He's going to get there on this one. We have about 4.5 minutes left, and it's going to be 1 point in it. Very close match. But that was a key win by Anish, and he played fantastically to convert that ending. Another exciting Sicilian here. Goes into the Shrezhnikov opening, named after the late Shrezhnikov, who only passed away quite recently, actually.
Yeah, what a legend, Evgeny Sveshnikov, throughout his career. So, when you have an opening named after you, especially one that's so popular, that's pretty awesome.
It is, yeah. And the idea of this opening for Black is that Black kind of gives up some positional ideas by getting those double pawns we saw earlier, but gets a lot of active play. And that rook, that's going to be coming all the way over. Anish going for a big attack here against White's king. White should be doing all right, but it's dangerous. Look at the black pieces flying in. This is great play by Anish so far.
I would have thought that it was borderline winning for Black, if I saw this initially. Queen f8 to go rook h6. I mean, speaking of geometry and just full board awareness, that was something. He stopped checkmate in one. And by the way, MVL, we see you. Stop trying to give a chatter's curse to Anish. You were rooting for him yesterday. As soon as you started chatting, it went wrong for him. So give the guy a break. Come on. He can deserve a little time off from your curses and jinxes.
I think everyone loves Anish, really, don't they? They pretend not to.
Queen h6 mate!
Oh my words. No emotion on Anish's face there after falling for a mate in one, but that was brutal. And that could be the big... And MVL, that's the MVL curse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he just won a piece out of the opening in this game. So the timing of that featured chat happened to be perfect in Maxim's favor, but we know Maxim said that while the previous game was happening. So look at this. It's a free piece. Knight takes f6, d5, you win a piece. And Simon, not only should Anish win this game, he's doing it so quickly that he'll probably get another game before the match timer elapses, which means he could head into extra time as tied, or if he loses that next game that he'll get, the match will just be over. Maxime.
I love what Maxime is saying there. He's saying, it's not a jinx if my boy is an idiot. Brutal. That's just brutal.
Oh, that is, I think it's also fair.
Yeah, brutally fair. Maybe bishop takes h6 at some point, but this is obviously winning for White. White's just got to play sensible moves and not fall for any tricks in the position.
And I'm looking at the clocks. Anish is keeping a healthy lead on time. So sometimes you get winning positions and you take a little bit too much time trying to be perfect. But no, he's just finding the tactics. He's stealing pawns. He's still up a piece. Ooh, rook e6 I like, but don't get back rank mated with rook d1, rook h1.
Yeah. Every single stage so far today has gone down to the playoffs, and it looks very likely now. Keeping a close eye. Let's remember that when that clock in the top left gets down to 0, that is the end of the match, but you need a 2-point lead. And they have another game. So what's the score here? So this means if White wins, does he go through? If I got that right?
If White wins, he is through. If it's a draw or a Black win, we get extra time, and we know what the people want. The people want extra time. It's free chess. You're going to get to sit there and see some of the best bullet players in the world combat these games out against one another. But as we see here, Minh Ohanian, he's going for the kill on the king side.
He is throwing that knight in, and the rook now coming up behind it. I like this way of playing, and he gets that lovely square in the center of the board there.
There must
White
be
knight
an
looking
F6.
fantastic. Oh, this is so dangerous for Anish now. The problem with Anish's position, his king side is now getting scattered, and it's also the center of the board which is under White's control. And that's not a move you want to play.
Okay, but
really dangerous here.
Ooh, he's going to play rook g8. He's barely holding on this rook f5. But the good news for black is if that rook moves from f5, the f6 pawn is loose. But I like that move queen h3. I think both sides are handling this quite... Oh, he blundered his queen!
Oh! He just blundered his queen, Robert. He's dropped his queen. And look at that. Look at the reaction on his face. Hand over the mouth there. I think it's all over. It's all over.
Wow. I can't believe it. And his camera's off. And Minh Ohanian, I don't even think he's realized what he has done here. He takes the match against Anish Giri, moving on in this Bullet Chess Championship. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking quite tricky. I think it was a well-deserved win, actually, for Minh in the end. He did play well, very close match. I mean, it's a bit heartbreaking for Anish because he's had 2 matches now that have really gone right down to the wire, and he's been on the losing side of both of them. But it is bullet chess, and this is the kind of blunder that happens, right?
Yeah.
Not too often in my games, at least.
Anish had to be the favorite heading into this match. Minh Ohanian was not scared one bit. He takes that match by 2. That's the winning margin. Eric Hansen, he was the recipient of a forfeit victory. So it looks really nice on paper, 7-0. Wow, you swept your poor opponent. But it's because Arjun Erigaisi did not show up. He's playing a classical game in Beal. But I just am having trouble wrapping my head around that finish there, Simon. We were promised what would be extra time, exhilarating, fast-paced action, and then Queen A5 just drops the queen and the match on the spot.
Yeah. And it kind of looked like Anish was sort of turning it at the end there. He wasn't getting mated immediately. He was trying to get his queen active, but he obviously just picked the wrong square. And he's going to be disappointed. It's a big name out of the competition, but what play from Minh? After losing to Hikaru, he's bounced back and he's just defeated one of the best players in the world. Well done.
Fantastic stuff. And as we look at the bracket, you will notice something in the losers bracket. You see the 4 names there that are made to losers round 2? None of them are super grandmasters. Their classical FIDE rating is not above 2,700. But the 4 people who were eliminated, Anish Giri, Dmitry Andreikin, Arjun Erigaisi, who did not show up, and Fabiano Caruana, those are super grandmasters. So 2,700 plus is a bad thing, proven in this Bullet Chess Championship. And some other players would like to prove that it's not such a bad thing, and those are the players still in the winners bracket. The matches that we are about to see include the likes of Nakamura, Jose Martinez, Naroditsky, and Tang. That is my marquee matchup of the day. Magnus Carlsen, the world #1, takes on Minh, who is a speed demon and a star in the online sphere. And then Alireza Firouzja, who won the BCC back in 2021. He takes on Bortnik Strong himself. So Simon, we just saw a pretty awesome finish to that match between Ohanian and Giri. But those other super GMs, they do not want to let that go and say, oh, my rating speaks for itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, well, I mean, it very, very exciting. We've just seen the losers bracket, and you mentioned some of the matches to come. I would just like to remind everyone that we do have this hyped up match between Danya and Andrew Tang coming up. Also, Alireza is going to be playing, and we're finishing the day with Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru. It's quite a good menu for the day, Robert.
Oh, well, I'm hungry. I hope everybody has an appetite because it's going to be such an amazing finish to day 2. And speaking of amazing stuff and things you will not want to miss, PogChamps 5. The wait is over. PogChamps is back. 16 of the world's biggest creators will go head-to-head in the greatest event in amateur chess. Brought to you by Chess.com and PogChamps legend Ludwig. Watch your favorite creators like Cutie Cinderella, XQC, and I Did a Thing fight for their share of a $100,000 prize fund and a ticket to the live finals in Los Angeles. Use the command POG in chat for all the details. It is POG, there will be POG, but right now it's the BCC. You will not want to miss anything here in this tournament. We will be back shortly, and when we return, it's the winners bracket in day 2 of the Bullet Chess Championship 2023.
Your subscription makes shows like this possible, which is why our Twitch subscribers will never see ads on chess.com. Connect your chess.com account and Twitch account at go.chess.com/connectaccounts, and bang, boom, voila, you're done. 100% ad-free bliss forevermore. Whether you're following our events on site or on stream, type the command connect in the chat, and thank you for helping bring these shows to life.
Interested in becoming a chess streamer like your favorite creators, such as Hikaru, Gotham Chess, and the Botez sisters?
Come on! Look at this! Woo!
The Chess.com community streamer program is growing every day. Whether you're just getting started with streaming or already established and looking to expand your audience, you can now connect your account to Chess.com and have your stream promoted on the game's largest platform. Simply link your account at chess.com/settings/connected accounts, set your category to chess on Twitch, and start streaming. You'll get an ad-free experience on chess.com. You will pop up on our list of live streamers. Your chess.com profile will feature your Twitch stream, and your stream will be linked to your games on our Play server. Type Command Community Streamer in chat and start growing your stream today.
Nothing is faster and more exhilarating in chess than a bullet game. It's all about quick thinking and taking advantage of every opportunity when it comes. Blink and you'll miss it.
How did he do that?
Despite its popularity, bullet chess only has one annual championship tournament. And now, entering its 5th year, the Bullet Chess Championship is stronger than ever. 3-time champion Hikaru Nakamura again looks to defend his title and add to his impressive trophy case.
A brutal finish. Nakamura officially has won.
The only player who has ever stopped Nakamura in this event also returns to take another shot at it. 2021 champion Alireza Firouzja.
That's it?
Competing with these champions for the first time in the format, the best all-around player in the world. Magnus Carlsen has dominated chess seemingly forever, but he's never played in the Bullet Chess Championship. Will one of these big three of Bullet take home the $20,000 crown? Or can someone else claim the title? Maybe Naroditsky? Tang? Hansen? Caruana?
That is the Fabiano finale.
In this speediest of speed chess championships, only one champion will emerge. Welcome to the 2023 Bullet Chess Championship.
He is the 2021 Bullet Chess Champion. He's one of the best players in the world, one of the biggest prodigies in chess history. He also was a tied winner of the title Tuesday earlier today. So his accomplishments keep racking up. He is looking to beat Alexander Bortnik in his match. Simon, Alireza Firouzja, will he get it done?
I think so. I think it's going to be a really exciting match again. I mean, Alexander is a fantastic bullet player, and we've seen so far that all the matches have been very, very, very close. So I think Alireza will do it, but I think it's going to be a close match.
He has a very tough opponent in Alexander Bortnik, and we have two matches coming up next because, hey, it's fun, and it's double the fun when you have side-by-side matches. As we look at the bracket, remind you of where we're going. We have Firouzja against Bortnik, and you'll see that in the bottom of the winners' quarterfinals. And we also will have Daniel Naroditsky against Andrew Tang. Hikaru Nakamura, Magnus Carlsen, they'll come later. Don't worry, you haven't missed it. They will be playing their matches after the upcoming two matches. But in Naroditsky versus Tang, Firouzja versus Bortnik, I think Firouzja is the biggest favorite of the four. But I do really believe that Bortnik has a very legitimate chance. He is fast and he is good.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think any of these four players who are coming up have the potential to win the whole thing. There's a prize fund of $100,000, $20,000 to the winner. It's pretty good. Not a bad prize fund. And they all are bullet experts. And on a good day, they could go all the way.
I'm with you there. And we have had favorites lose already in this competition. We just saw Giri lose to Ohanian. That was not expected. And for Bortnik, I mean, he's beaten all the best players in the world. So it's not a surprise for him to win 2-3 games in a row. But can he sustain it over 30 minutes? That's the big question. But I've been calling it out the whole day. The marquee matchup for me, the one that I have the hardest time predicting, is Daniel Naroditsky against Andrew Tang, because Danya is well known as a content creator. He is a very fabulous commentator. He was the 2022 Chess.com Commentator of the Year. He's a good friend of ours, but he's also finished in third place in the last 3 Bullet Chess Championships. So the 60 million views on YouTube, the peak bullet rating, those are fantastic, but I think he ultimately wants to improve on that third place finish.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's a great player. He sees everything so quick, but he's also got all the tricks of the trade, right? He knows when to flag, he knows when to set up tricks, and he can sort of arrange the bullet games the way he wants to. His opponent, though, Andrew Tang, is also an incredible bullet player and also hyper bullet player. This could be one of the quickest matches we've seen, as I think both of these guys' mouse speeds are just phenomenal. So they could be playing more moves than we've seen in any other match. I'm actually interested to see who's going to be the quicker of the two, because it's like it's like a rocket versus, I don't know, like a bullet. It's so hard to tell which one is quicker, because they're both so quick.
And this is a 2-time Bullet Chess Championship runner-up. He would like to win the title for the first time. It's Andrew Tang. And I looked it up beforehand. They have played over 3,300 times. And Penguin GM, that's Andrew Tang, he has a slight lead on Naroditsky. 1,743.5 to 1,624.5. They have played so many times. I don't know the breakdown by time control, whether it's the score has been racked up in blitz or bullet, but it's very, very close between them. And Tang, he doesn't always talk a lot. He just lets his moves do the talking. And boy, do those moves come out at a lightning pace. His mouse speed is perhaps second to none.
Yeah. I mean, he is the star of like the quicker of the bullet time limits, so the 50-second time limits and under. So just the speed is phenomenal. How many moves they can So, I mean, these matches we're about to see, they're just going to be so close. I mean, I'm kind of looking in the chat and seeing what people are saying, and I think everyone's got their fans, right? Big following, all these players about to play. And let's just remind everyone, after these matches as well, we've got Magnus and Hikaru playing. So the day is kind of getting better and better. You know, the dessert is to come later on. And it's just too close to call. I can't even say who I think is going to win this one. All my predictions have gone horribly wrong today anyway. I haven't been able to predict anything right. So I think I'll stay out this one, Robert, and leave it to you. I mean, can you predict a winner in these matches?
Okay, this is going to be tough. I'm going to go with Firouzja. I think, if we're being honest, everyone says Firouzja is a favorite in that matchup. Bortnik has a chance, but Firouzja is the better bullet player of the two. And I'm curious what the chat thinks. Before I give my opinion, in chat, I don't talk to you very often, but I know you're there, and I'm giving you a little bit of love, so take what you get. But let us know what you think. What is your prediction between Tang and Naroditsky? Because it is oh so close. And now that I've said that, you're not going to be swayed by what I'm about to say. I have to go advantage Tang. He beat Naroditsky last year. I think what we've seen in his return after graduating from Princeton, he talked about how he went on a month-long trip with his friends to several Asian countries, including Japan and others. He seems to be in good spirits, and he's returned with a bang. So he said at first he felt a little bit slow. He lost some of his skill, but it's back. And I think that Tang should be the slight favorite, but I'm not saying by much. I mean, Daniel Naroditsky, he has been the highest rated bullet player at chess.com for such a long period of time. He's always up there with the Hikarus of this universe. So, Simon, I'm going to go with Tang, but it's really, really close for me.
Okay, well, look, so you're going Tang, and you're going for Alireza. To make it interesting, Robert, I have to say Danya and Alexander. Then that's what we're going to go for. I mean, I don't really want to bet against Alireza ever because he's just very good. But we've got to make it interesting. I'll go for the opposite. What are we going to play for, Robert? What do you think so?
Next time we're at the pub, we got who's buying. But I'm this guy on screen here, Danya Naroditsky, very good friend of ours. He's a monster, and I think he really, really wants to win because he knows in his experience against Hikaru, against Magnus, against Firouzja, he can beat them in spurts. So no matter who Tang or Naroditsky play in the future, they know that they have a legitimate chance. And on the left-hand side of the screen, we see Alireza Firouzja. He's getting ready for battle against Bortnik, and we're off. So look at the moves. They're happening so fast that it's going to be difficult to say a word.
I was thinking the same. This is probably going to be the hardest ever match to commentate on in the history of chess.com because the speed they are moving is phenomenal. They're already getting quite deep into the middle game. You could even say closing in on the ending here, and they haven't used hardly any time at all. I think the start of the match is going to be very important, though. If someone can get a dominating lead, their confidence will grow, and that could play on their opponent as well. I mean, what do we reckon so far, Robert, of the two matches going on?
I'm not a mathematician, but I believe that Bortnik is up a pawn on the left-hand side of our screens here. I'm counting 7 for black and only 6 for white. And 2 knights versus 2 bishops. Hey, that knight on c6 is posing a problem for that pawn on d4. And, well, what pawn on d4? Now it's gone. But Alireza, he strikes on the queen side, going for the b7 pawn himself.
Yeah, that one is still quite close. But in the other match going on here, it was looking like Danya, and it still is looking like Danya has the pressure because, to my eyes, the black king is weaker. But Andrew fighting back now. And look at that. His king comes running into the center of the board. It's all about the passed pawns, and this is a great move, creating 2 passed pawns. Maybe black's king run was the wrong idea there. And I think one of these pawns that white has is going to become a queen. Danya very likely to take first blood here.
Oh, not very likely. That one's over. Danya takes game 1. And you can see both players, they're calm. They've been through this before. They lose a couple games to start. They have time to bounce back. And Bortnik, he is trying to survive this game, but it's not going to happen. You see the clock, Alireza ahead. He's also about to get a queen. Rook d7 is a nice finesse. That way, the 97 is pinned.
Yeah. That was a nice game there. Nice game from Danya. He was better for most of the way. There was a chance there where he let it slip a bit. And I think the other thing these players need to do, they need to find the right pace. Is there a danger they could move too quickly even in this one?
There certainly is, and Danya speaks about that often on his streams, where there are moments when you're pre-moving when you don't have to, and that can really backfire if you're not anticipating your opponent's choice correctly. I could see Bortnik, by the way, shake his head, and the other two players in the other match, they were neutral. It seemed like, okay, whatever, it happened. But Bortnik, he seemed a bit rattled by that first game, so he's going to need to maintain his composure. When you're playing Alireza Firouzja, you can't afford mistakes, and you can't afford to not believe in yourself. Firouzja's a beast, whether or not you believe in yourself, so you might as well have that self-confidence. And, hey, Bortnik has a nice position right now.
He does, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like a Jabava London, but he's got a pretty decent position. Saying that, the dark squares are a bit scary there. And Alireza has sacrificed to get some pressure against White's kingside. And we've said this time and time again. It's not always who's got the better position. It's who's got the easier position to play. And when you're attacking, that gives you the easier option. So the evaluation bar really liking White. That could be a great move there, bringing the knight around. But actually, Black has the pressure here, I feel.
That was, I thought, an amazing choice to play d4. Clearly, there was a mistake. Knight takes e4 probably is going to hurt the White king on h1 at some point, but he went in the wrong direction. And it looks like Bortnik, wow, he pre-moved pawn takes e4. So he knew that was going to happen, and he is winning according to the engines. But not because of that move.
It looks so scary, though. White is a rook up, but look at Black's bishops. Black's bishops are dominating the board, and White has to defend very carefully here, and he does very confidently. So this could be a big win if White can just finish the game off.
Yeah, and look at the clock. They're both down under 8 seconds right now. White is a little bit ahead in time. White can go for checkmate. Just don't slip and blunder your queen. Oh gosh, rook g1, bishop e4 was mate.
Wow. And this is the thing with great players. They make it so hard, and he's got half a second to do this.
Oh, 0.2 seconds when Bortnik wins that game, and he just was like, I can't believe it, but he did it. That was close.
That could be the flavor of this match, I feel. It could be coming down to the wire, just like we saw there, and it's 1 point all. In this one, and was this an Alekhine opening? It's supposed to have a bit of a dubious reputation for Black, but maybe this is what you need to do more in bullet chess. You need to play riskier openings to try and confuse your opponent, and even if they're unsound in bullet chess, it's a lot harder to refute them.
With all respect to Bortnik, his openings are not his strong suit. He plays his systems. He knows them inside and out. So he plays what is not considered the best line at the highest levels, but he does so with great success in bullet and blitz. Even if it says +1 for White, he doesn't care. And speaking of +1, add 1 to Daniel Naroditsky's score. He is out to a hot start, 2.5 over Tang on the right-hand side of our screens.
Yeah, that's a massive start for Danya. He's looking pretty confident there as well. And again, you don't want to let these matches drift away from you, even though there's going to be many games played. In this game, Andrew got a pretty solid position. Andrew has actually quite a positional style, I've realised. It must be a little bit better now. And he's going to win a pawn, so this is a great chance for Andrew to strike back. He can either, maybe not winning a pawn there, but he still has the pressure against Black's position.
Yes, somehow Black hasn't folded. Danya, of course, will always fight, but it felt like his position was on the verge of collapsing, and all the pressure down the c-file should pay dividends. Here's rook c6 check yet. Now, whoa.
Ooh.
The king's not
Can
getting
you survive with a king like that? I mean, that is one crazy king, and I just don't feel Black's king can last here. White must have ways to checkmate it here. This is where you need your puzzle rush. Okay, he didn't find it straight away.
Yeah, I thought he could have won a piece there, but instead he brings his rook back first. And by the way, Bortnik just lost on time in a winning position, so you could see him being displeased with that result. And I think the left-hand side is going to come down to the wire of those time scrambles. The right-hand side thus far, it seems like each side is really proving their might in individual wins.
Yeah, and of course, looking on the right-hand side, Andrew should be winning this one 2 pawns up, but he has 3 seconds less, and that's a big time disadvantage. But Andrew is the quickest player in the world, and there he goes. He takes Danya's rook to make the difference. Only 1 point here.
Did you see that rook a5 move? So Danya does this, and all the best bullet players do this. They know when to try and trick their opponent. They kind of scout out the moment and say, okay, I'm losing anyway, let me try it. But Andrew didn't pre-move. He understood that Danya might go for that, and this is why they're two of the best bullet players on the planet.
Yeah, so it's a nice little 50-50 shot, right? You attack your opponent's rook. If they spot it, you lose, but if they don't spot it, you win. And it's the kind of trick you can try if your position is so bad anyway. You have to try a trick. I fall for that kind of stuff all the time. And again, my eyes are still drawn to that match because I'm wondering if Andrew can now level the score. And it's equal material, but now black is striking. And look how open the white king is. The black queen is going to come in, and it feels, again, like a great chance for Andrew to win this one game here.
Yeah, he's only up one pawn, which is a bit surprising because it looks like more. But that's so nice. He's trading queens on his own terms, getting rook to the second rank. Andrew looks like he's getting the job done, and he is. He's winning a rook. And I was fascinated by the other game, but Bortnik in time trouble, and his advantage is gone. He had an attack, no longer, and so it looks like Alireza is going to take another one.
Yeah, also that game, you're right, Robert. I mean, to be drawn to that one, Alireza was in a lot of trouble there, and Bortnik was attacking very, very strongly. But that's the kind of game he's gonna, he really can't lose too many of them. And Alireza going to take another victory, going 2 points ahead here. Close matches though.
Very, very close matches. And before we dive into this specific match, I just want to say that I think it was smart of Bortnik to test Alireza just to see how his mouse skills are today. Even though he was completely losing, he probably could have resigned. He just probably trying to see, is Alireza up to the task? And whoa, what is going on in this game? Is a king on g3. There's knight h5 check there, but he goes e3 first. And you know how Danya is with the tactics. Second to pretty much only Hikaru's of the world.
I mean, Danya's played a brilliant game so far here. He found an attack from nowhere, doing an amazing move on that square there, f4. And with the extra queen, he should be doing well, of course. It's always nice to have an extra queen, isn't it? But you can still make mistakes. Now the queen moving into the position. But does he have a finish here? He's threatening checkmate on g2.
This was superb. Just bishop takes e3, right? And that removed the guard of g2.
Yeah, that looks simple. And Andrew, okay, he falls for mate in 1.
Wow. That was a brilliant game. I don't care what the time control was. The way he orchestrated that attack, that was seamless.
That was quality. And if Danya keeps playing at that standard, he's going to be so hard to break down. We have another sharp position here. It looks like white should be doing very well here. Look at the pin on that knight. Another great move, because if that pawn is exchanged, the white rook is now opened up even. Black king too weak here, Robert.
Way too weak. The sensei indeed. I mean, that was awesome. Opening by Danya. By the way, Alireza Firouzja just took another one, so he has increased his lead. But the way Danya just played an opening, knowing that Black's king would be wide open, and Simon, you're correctly saying this time after time, that it's often, no matter what the evaluation bar says, and here it said white was better, that if your king is unsafe, you're very likely to lose when you don't have enough time to calculate.
Yeah, it's probably just the most important thing at the quicker time limits. Try to get your king safe, and sacrifices, well, they become a lot more dangerous because you want that initiative. White doing well, obviously, very well. 2 bishops, better king, extra pawn. Andrew is holding on though, and now he's diving in with a last tactical try. Danya on the defensive a little bit. Again, I'm pretty amazed how well Andrew is defending in some of these games, but that kills the game off, winning a piece.
Good recognition from Danya there. And yeah, we do have Stanford versus Princeton. Danya having graduated from Stanford University. But look at Danya. He defended g2. He saw the knight was hanging, and that was that. But I think Andrew needs this one. There's plenty of time left in the match, but you can just feel Danya gaining confidence game after game.
Yeah. He's spotting tactics just so quickly here. That knight coming straight into the position. But is that knight good or bad there? It's in a pin. So if the white knight moves, the white queen is lost. But I don't know. I don't like that knight. It looks very loose there.
Yeah, you're just dropping all your pieces. A6 right now probably is good, but knight e8. Oh, the rook on a1. Knight b2 is a move. Everything was hanging.
G5, undermining white's pieces. If the bishop moves away, then the black knight will be taken. Spotting these tactics just so quickly. So white has to sacrifice the piece here. And I think he resigns immediately. Realises he's got to get more games in. At the moment, this lead is getting a little bit away from Andrew.
Yes, just as it is getting away from Bortnik. I just watched Alireza off the side of the screen win another game. It's 5-1 in Firouzja's favor. It doesn't seem like Bortnik's match, but it doesn't seem like Tang's match either. The Penguin, I don't really know how often the Penguin goes on tilt, but it's not tilting in his direction, at least thus far. He needs to get this game.
He does. And his king's a little bit weak. So we go back to that thing we were saying, that maybe the valuation bar says that black is okay, but you have the weak king. White has the initiative, and I'd much rather be white in a position like this with the attack. And that, again, is looking very dangerous for Andrew. What does he do against that check? Go into an ending. Okay, he has more chances, I feel, in an ending.
He certainly does, because his king is actually defending against the white rooks. So he's going back and forth. These players, they know when to retreat. And suddenly the eval bar is actually suggesting that black is doing quite well.
Yeah, he needs to pick up a game soon, Andrew. And the bishop, a very strong piece in the middle of the board, looking both ways, but you've got to watch out for that pass pawn of whites pushing up the board. Can you take the pawn here? You can. The B pawn. Oh, that must be a winning pawn there.
But the H pawn is so dangerous because you can't play rook b8 because then the rook trade would allow h7 and h8 equals queen. So what is happening at this stage?
The time situation, they're both now getting very short time. Who's the quicker player? It's so hard to tell. I mean, at the moment, Danya is keeping pace very well with Andrew.
Whoa!
White has the extra queen.
Oh my goodness, knight g8 blocking the rooks out. Oh, you see him pre-moving, and it's one of those moments where he has enough time. He didn't necessarily need a pre-move, but it looks like he should be in time with this queen just pestering the black king.
Robert, these guys are insane. I was just looking at those moves and I'm just thinking, how can they do that? I mean, what is happening there? Absolutely insane.
Ridiculous. And I'm watching Bortnik on the left-hand side of our screen. He just took down Firouzja in that knight endgame, so he cuts his deficit from 4 to 3. So we actually have a 4-point lead for Danya, a 3-point lead for Alireza. Danya saying, Robert, don't ever predict against me.
Yeah, I mean, Danya is dominating at the moment, and Bortnik needs to get back into the match with a couple of wins as well. I think Andrew and Bortnik are basically in the same situation, right? They must get a roll going. There's 15 minutes left. There's still time. You can see the concentration now on everyone's face.
Ooh.
Andrew looks so relaxed.
And that G4 move, we saw Danya hit him with a G5 in the previous game. G4 one apiece for Andrew Tang. And one thing we noticed yesterday from Danya is he knows when to stall. Like, he's going to lose this game anyway. He might just waste the entirety of his game clock just to get 20 seconds off the overall match clock.
And you can see the tactics just happen so quickly here. And Danya's still making it quite tricky. But of course, white has the extra knight in this game on the right-hand side. Pieces flying in the game with Alireza and Bortnik. But it looks like Alireza will take another win there. His B-pawn very far advanced.
Although neither king is super happy. The white was up a piece. Now it's back to even in terms of minor pieces. But knight e8, that's a nasty move. Just bringing in another attacker.
Good news for Andrew Tang fans. He did take that game down, and he needs to take the next one down as well. 13.5 minutes to go. The speed is so important. Alireza, also one of the quickest players out there. As you said, Robert, he's won this event before. Let's not forget that.
What are we watching on the right-hand side of our screen? So Alireza, we know he's getting the job done. But on the right-hand side, what is this opening? What is this position? Whose king is worse? Rook takes a3, and Danya slaps his head.
Yeah, that was a great move from Andrew. He's opening up the White King. He's getting the attack. And the White King must be too exposed. It's got to be checkmate with the Queen sneaking in. Will Danya waste some time here? Waiting to resign?
I think he should.
Because there's no way that... Yeah, he should do. There's no way the White King can survive, right? Black threatening checkmate. Danya very annoyed with that one. That game could affect him a little bit because he was doing well. He had this big attack. Has a sip of coffee. Good idea. Just chill out a little bit. And the lead is only going to be 2 points there with 12 minutes to go.
And we know it's win by 2. So as long as the one player is trailing by 1 point, then they can get more games. So this is a very big game for Danya. I think that sometimes, like all players, he can go on tilt, and he's lost 2 in a row, and he does not want to see Andrew find himself back in this match.
No. And Andrew must be feeling good as well after winning a couple of games there. We have the Moxie bind structure. This is basically, with White's pawn structure, denotes that kind of setup. Black's pawn push, very logical. Getting play on the queen side. Andrew now going for the attack, just trying to use that f-pawn to open up the position.
And that
the e-pawn.
Bishop c8 move was really bright from Danya because f5 would have come with the tempo. By moving his bishop back to c8, he gets it out of harm's way. And suddenly he's trading off pieces. Black is even on material, but the black king is definitely worse. Those dark squares in front of the king. And also the f7 square for the queen.
Comes into the f7 square with a big check there. But Danya doing a great job of defending so far. He's playing for the win. That's a brave choice from Danya. He could have just taken the draw there.
Yeah, and he could have played rook f8 just a moment ago, but he didn't do that. He is up a pawn, so trades are helpful for him. He's probably going queen g7. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to play queen g7 and try to win.
Do we have a draw there? I think it's a draw.
We do. Okay, so back at it they go. Still a 2-point spread. And this opening, is this what we just saw where Danya stole the a7 pawn and it backfired? But no, it's a different variation of the same line.
Very sharp stuff that Andrew's playing as black. He's playing more positional as white and then playing these kind of crazy lines with the black pieces. There's a lot of players who do this, They're willing to take risks when they're playing with black, counter-attacking. But with white, they want to steady the ship a little bit. We have a dynamic position. Sorry,
this looks very good for white, right, Simon? The bishop pair in the center, open space in front of the black king, the b2 pawn defended by the bishop on d4, and then did he walk? No, it's a blunder from Andrew.
Yeah, he thought he spotted a tactic there, but it was a good check from Danya, and Danya is now a piece up. And maybe it's just a good idea to resign this one. I mean, you're a piece down. Danya is not making many mistakes. Save a bit of time on the clock and get to the next game.
Yeah, queen e5 was a nice way to interpose, and that check was blocked, and the rook on b8 was loose, so there's no choice but to trade queens, so there's no choice but to resign. And so it's a 3-point lead once more. Still plenty of time, right? 9.5 minutes. That gives Andrew ample time to make this comeback. But this variation, when that knight went to d6 in the previous game, that did not work out for Andrew, and it doesn't look like it's working out again.
No, very tactical here. They're both getting sharp positions. A little update on the other match as well. It seems that Alireza is, I think, 3 points up there, so it's not as big a gap as we may. Well, it's the same gap as this match. Also a close match, and also time for Botnik to come back into it.
Although Alireza with the white pieces in this latest game looks like he is taking it. In fact, he has, so that means that now it's a 4-point lead for Firouzja, and Bortnik does not seem very happy to be there. But what is going on in this game that we see in front of us? It's 2 pieces for a rook, but Black's king looks far safer to my eyes.
It does. Is there any way that Black can increase the pressure, though? That's a very nice move.
And you see Danya, he's doing that thing where he has checkmate in 1, but instead of playing it, he is slowing down, checkmate 2 rather, queen h6, queen takes h5, but he was wasting time, forcing Andrew to resign.
Cool. That was a big game because I think Andrew should have won that one. And every point like that is massive at this point in the match. 8 minutes left. Lots of tactics on Danya's board against Andrew. That rook has come straight in. Another good chance for Andrew to get into this match. A brilliant move there. He doesn't even take that bishop in front of his king. He just moves his knight in, increasing the pressure on White's position.
Wow.
Needs to win. I think he needs to win this one, right? Oh, is there some nice mate there? It looked like there should be, but...
Yeah, Queen H4, Knight F3 check. But what I'm wondering is, like, what went wrong? Because I'm trying to do that chess calculation thing when it's bullet Knight H2 to F3. Are you kidding me?
Insanely good chess being played by Andrew in this game. This is a fantastic game. And what play, though. The White King has never found any safety here.
What did we just witness? Look at Andrew's clock. He's up over 20 seconds, and he's playing Pac-Man and taking all of Daniel's pieces.
Yeah, it's time to get that Hoover out and just hoover them off, yeah? He's hoovering them. Brilliant play from Andrew. So that means there's a 3-point gap, and there's 6 and a bit minutes left. I mean, I think by my calculation, Robert, Andrew probably needs to win every game now, right? Because of the clever stalling techniques of Danya as well.
Yeah, you cannot afford to lose, that's for sure. And by the way, there's a draw on the left-hand side of our screen. Knight and king versus king. That's not enough material to mate, so the game concludes as a draw. And now it's Danya's turn to have some fun with an exchange sacrifice. Oh, sorry, it's not even an exchange sacrifice. I saw the F2 pawn missing for something, and I thought it was like a sack on E3. But now I'm actually calculating, and he's just crushing Andrew.
Yeah, he's basically saying, Andrew, you're going to crush me like that in that game? I'm coming at you. I want my revenge. And he has just opened up the White King far too much here.
How many pawns is Black up? 3?
You blink and you miss them drop, Robert. I mean, they just go so quickly. And most of the action is happening in the opening in these games. There goes another pawn. So that's 4 whole pawns.
Oh, and there's an exchange.
Well, I think it's a whole rook, right? I mean, Andrew, resign. I think he's got to resign here. But this win might be the one that's going to get Danya through. Okay, there's a little trick here. If you take the knight, there's a queen h8 checkmate.
Knight d1. Knight d1. Fork the king and queen.
Bang. Bang.
And Simon, that was the first time I saw Andrew shake his head. I think he knows that it's about to be over. And not for his whole tournament. It's double elimination, so Andrew will slide down to the loser's bracket. But you could tell that one hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he realized, as you say, that the match is slipping out of his grasp. And slipping out of grasp, we can see the score on the other one as well. And it's slipping out of Bortnik's grasp as well. Alireza is 5 points up with 5 minutes to go. So also showing his dominance in the match.
I was about to say that if Andrew wins this game, he'll get at least 2 more, it would seem, if he can win it quickly. But he's not really winning this game at all. It looks like Danya is well ahead, and he wants his revenge from a year ago. That's clear. Danya came to play today. He was not messing around. He left his stream earlier than I expected last night, because Danya can stream until something like 6 a.m. because, I don't know, he's a madman. But he is just destroying Andrew in this match in a way that I don't think everyone could have expected.
Yeah, he's playing so well. He's got his magic drink, I've noticed as well. You know, we saw this yesterday. I need to know what Danya is drinking, whatever it is. It's you know, something I want to get my hands upon because it's doing the job well.
Danya's the one who introduced me. He said that Peter Yanatos from the Charlotte Chess Center says whenever you take a drink, you know that means someone thinks that they're doing well. Like when you feel like you made a good move, you take a drink of water. You feel confident in your position. So Danya clearly confident in his bullet chess. He's up 12-6, and he has clinched that match as Firouzja did against Bortnik. So amazing stuff, frankly, from Danya.
It's just been too strong today. He's playing too quickly. He's spotting tactics nicely, and some of the games he's playing, I think you mentioned it, Robert. We'd be happy to play. I'd be happy to play certainly in a long play game. You know, some of his attacking tactics have just been stunning, and he's seen them automatically, way too quick. And here, again, the pieces are flying on the board, but it seems like White has worked this out. And White doing well, again.
And you look at that. Did you see that reaction from Danya? He knows it's over. I won't say the middle word, but it was "let's go." And that is a pumped Daniel Naroditsky. He is going to move on to the winner's semifinal.
100%. He's there now. As you mentioned, there is another chance for Andrew, which is great news because, this is his thing, the speed chess. Double elimination. Also, Alireza is going to be joining him through into the next round. So a lot of the big names are in. This has been, you picked this match as being the match of the day, and it has been. The quality they've both played is phenomenal. Obviously, Alireza has been doing great chess as well, but it's just the speed of the tactics which just amazes me here.
I think we're treated. This is a match where there can only be one winner. That's what happens in competition. But I think we've all won because these two are such superstars at bullet chess. And Danya, he won this match, but we know that Andrew Tang can make his way back through the losers bracket. If they play again tomorrow, the match score could be flipped. That's how tightly contested their matchups have been over the years.
Yeah, well said there. And it does depend a lot on the day. On some days one player can be completely in the zone, and the other player, if they're just missing a couple of percentage, it will affect them greatly. And as you said, Danya today has been completely in the zone. He's spotting everything. Every little tactic is working his way.
Even that move. He just put his knight on the enemy's last rank there, right? Or enemy's first rank, I should say. And that was a great move because it couldn't be captured. And now he's transitioned into a pawn-up queen ending where he should just be close to winning.
We've mentioned this time limit being, some people have called it like the crack cocaine of the chess world. I don't know if that's a very good analogy, but it's certainly I think where you get your adrenaline going the most because you just have to move. You don't have time to think. I think the endorphins just run through the body at a much higher rate. And anyone who says that chess is boring, you just watch these guys play and you watch the speed of their thinking, and it's just phenomenal how quickly they can move and how quickly they can calculate things.
Yeah, and you see this end game that's being worked. Look at that, queen d4 check. Give you a little check there. Queen d8. You want to keep your passed pawn, but what Danya's also doing is he's taking time off Andrew's clock. And okay, this should be a draw. I think that it will be a draw. There's no real point of trying to flag your opponent at this stage. But Bortnik, by the way, also scored a victory against Firouzja. So, he did before, and now it looks like he's going to suffer a defeat in this game.
Yeah. That is the time over. So we're just seeing the end of that one, and we know now the two players that are going through. But who have we got next, Robert? It's not, the action is not over for the day, correct?
I think you've been most excited for the matches that will take place. We'll get an interview for sure, but we will have Magnus Carlsen against Minh and Hikaru Nakamura taking on Jose Martinez. So you thought that Danya versus Andrew was the peak of today's performances. No. We have Magnus and Hikaru taking part in their matches just in a bit. But this is the last game of the matchup between Bortnik and Firouzja. Bortnik is down a couple pawns here. He's down too many points. So even holding a draw, even winning this game, won't change the outcome. But for Alireza, he's been so impressive that we've barely looked at his match.
Yeah, and look at that. You can see Bortnik. That's kind of been the way the match is going. Very annoyed. Just blunders his queen there. It's a hopeless situation anyway. And again, Bortnik does get another chance. It's a double elimination, so he can get back into the match. But Alireza just too good in that one.
Yeah, Alireza Firouzja earns his spot in the winners' semifinals, as did Daniel Naroditsky. So that was pretty awesome. We were promised some fun matchups. They were a bit more lopsided than other matchups we've seen, but when all is said and done, Alireza Firouzja, Daniel Naroditsky, they earned their winning margins, and that means they get to move on to the winners semifinals tomorrow.
Yeah, going to be a great match tomorrow as well. These two playing, very hard to pick a winner there. Their speed has been shown to be phenomenal. And I would say that Alireza and Danya, they have kind of a similar-ish sort of style in bullet chess. They love attacking. They love getting the initiative. And when they get that, they can just calculate through things at incredible pace as well. But next up, as you say, Robert, the action's not over. We've got the best player probably of all time, Magnus Carlsen, playing. And Magnus now preferring the quicker time limits. And we've also got the three-time winner of this event, Hikaru, is playing. And he absolutely destroyed Minh yesterday in the match. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Hikaru forced us to make a mistake, a miscalculation. We thought that maybe Minh Ohanian just wasn't, that strong in bullet chess, but just how good Hikaru is, because Minh beat Anish today in the losers bracket. So that's what Hikaru does to people. He makes even the strongest not look that powerful. Somehow he is able to sap them of their strength. But we see in the losers bracket, we move on to round 2. Bortnick gets to play that very same Minh Ohanian. Andrew Tang will play against Eric Hansen. So that's one to look forward to tomorrow. But all eyes, I think, are on today. We will have an interview with none other than Daniel the Prophet Naroditsky. Please type your questions for Danya in the chat. We'd love to ask him some of yours. And when we return from the break, we'll have that interview followed by Hikaru Nakamura versus Jose Martinez and Magnus Carlsen against Minh Le. You'll not want to miss any of it. Stay tuned from the Bullet Chess Championship 2023.
It's Danny here, and as you may know, chess.com and Chessable are now one, and I'm here to show you how you can make your chess.com and Chessable one in just a few clicks. To start, let's log in and connect our chess.com account. I just scroll right here above the browser and click login. Scroll down and click continue with chess.com. Now, if you're already logged into chess.com, it's just going to ask you if you want to approve that connection. I'm going to say yes, sir. But after approving, it'll bring you right back to the Chessable homepage. Now, the Puzzle Connect feature can be found under Tools, and you click Puzzle Connect. Now, what that does after you type in your username is it's going to pull positions from the games you played on chess.com, create your very own personalized Chessable course, and then quiz you with the positions where you may have missed the best move. And the more you play on chess.com, the more games it will have to quiz you as long as your account stays connected. It's pretty sweet, and it's going to help you get better learning from the mistakes in your games. Yes, this is a pro feature at Chessable, but if you go to chessable.com/link, you can get 30 days of Pro for free.
Do you wish playing a chess game with a friend was as easy as sending them a text? Well, good news. Now it is. With Chess.com's new iMessage app, you can start and play a game directly in iMessage. Your friend doesn't even need a Chess.com account. It's just tap and play. Head over to go.chess.com/iMessage or use the command iMessage in chat to learn more.
Chess.com's game review recently got a major update. Here are 4 key notes. At the end of each game review, you will now see a summary of the game from your coach, your performance rating for that game, and a quick grade for you and your opponent in the opening, middle game, and end game. We've added a new classification called Miss for when a move fails to take advantage of an opportunity, but it is otherwise a sound move. We've also changed the definition of blunder. Now a move will only be considered a blunder if it loses material or allows a checkmate. Coach will now draw arrows and highlight squares when you hover over or click on the highlighted words in the move explanations. This should make move explanations easier to follow. Finally, Coach's explanations will now reference specific pieces and threats in the explanations, making move explanations much more intuitive. The new game review experience is available on chess.com right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Bullet Chess Championship 2023, a fascinating round of chess. And we have a very special guest in the studio for us to... Wait a second. I'm not commentating, Robert. Oh, my gosh. This is too meta.
Well,
back to you, Robert and Simon.
Haven't you done enough, Danya? You just played an amazing match against Andrew Tang. Congrats to you. That was very impressive. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pumped. Obviously feeling amazing. I was expecting this to be a very close match. I think it was a very close match, and there were a lot of jitters, the first 10, 15 minutes, just like there were yesterday. But when I went on that win streak, all the tactics started flowing. All the 50-50 games started going my way, and it was just, that's honestly just what I live for. It's super fun.
Daniel, you were playing some amazing tactics, far too quick for me. And is there any way you prepare for a match like this? I mean, do you do tactics or do you take a walk? What is your secret advice?
I wish I had a carefully planned routine in place that I could share. It really depends on the opponent. Andrew is very consistent with his opening repertoire, particularly in bullet chess. So I took a look at some openings. I mostly just decided what to play. I didn't really look at it. I think that contradicts the spirit of the tournament to sit there with stockfish for hours. I did some puzzle rush, and I played a 50-game match with Minh yesterday, last night. So a lot of the credit goes to Minh, who really brought the best out of me. I got all the blunders out of the way yesterday, saved like 5 or 6, but I can work with 5 or 6.
Yeah, I actually saw you playing against Minh. I saw that 50-game match, and it seemed like you ended your stream and went to sleep earlier than we're used to seeing from you. Yeah. So how important is the Bullet Chess Championship to you? Are you really making a concerted effort to get your sleep and get your mind ready for each and every match?
It is incredibly important for me. It's actually one of the most important tournaments I play in because I actually think I have a very minor chance of advancing and doing really, really well. And I want to play Hikaru in a match. So I'm forcing myself to, skimp on the Netflix and skimp on the 6 a.m. streams. It's, those hour and a half, 2 hours that I have in the morning to just get up, shower, bring myself to a good mental space, make the 7 beverages that I have on my desk. All of that takes a while to assemble. So I honestly think that's been the key to the kingdom. I'm calmer, I'm more focused, and I got to say I'm still incredibly nervous before the match begins. Nothing replaces, it's just hard to describe that feeling when the match begins and you're on your own. But I do think that my routine has helped me a lot thus far.
You mentioned there, Daniel, that you'd like to play Hikaru. That's going to be one hell of a match if we see it at some point. So looking forward to watching that one. And I keep seeing you have the same drink, and you mentioned your drink there. What is your drink? Because it's doing its job well.
I got a battery of various beverages. I'm a big sparkling water fiend, so I go through a different brand every week, yesterday or sometimes every day. So I got a sparkling water yesterday. It was a Waterloo, which is pretty good. Today it's a Spindrift. And then, of course, coffee. Without coffee, I would be writhing on the floor beside my desk, and I would not be able to execute more than 3 moves before losing on time. So it's coffee, it's sparkling water, and maybe if I win the whole thing, there'll be something else on the last day.
I think you're going to be popping bottles of champagne if that happens. But speaking of pain, it brings me some pain to read this featured chat question from Darren. And the question is, what do you think of me predicting that you would lose to Andrew?
Who predicted that?
I did.
You did. Are you Robert Hess, the one and only Grandmaster? Let me just take your address down so I can pay you a little bit of a visit. Well, I think, honestly, Andrew has been playing amazing the last couple of months, and those aren't just M2. He has been consistently beating me. In 30-second matches, he's been outspeeding me, and that's part of what really worried me. Have been really lost at sea, particularly in the openings, and I think that was a big key. Was I really chose openings that I was comfortable with. I forced him not to play his same-ish systems. Once he put his knight on F3, I was like, okay, King's Indian, I can handle that. And at first I got really nervous. We were tied. I lost a couple games, but somehow I managed to flip a switch. But you're forgiven, Robert, to answer your question. You're still my friend, but I don't know. We'll have to have a little conversation after the broadcast ends. You're good. I would have predicted that too. Again.
And another question from the chat, Danya, and this is from Sibulman. And how much of speed chess is recognizing positions versus improvising tactics?
Mostly improvising tactics. Almost every game goes off the rails at some point. Rare is the occasion when you follow some sort of main line. I mean, you can make positional moves in Bullet, but it mostly reduces down to, oh, I see a cool square. I see the E5 square. My knight's on A1. I'm just going to telescope onto that square. That's the extent of strategic reasoning that you have in Bullet. Mostly it's spotting 2 or 3 move tactics. So important to avoid 1 move blunders because that really kills your momentum. And I do think it's important to go into positions that you generally understand. That's why I was doing King's Indian, and I was playing the Belgrade Gambit, which is an opening I've analyzed and played a ton on my stream, and it really brought me a lot of comfort that we had structures where I knew that I was playing decent ideas, but mostly it is just flash pattern recognition, and almost all games, no matter how they begin, ultimately boil down to who sees more short tactics.
And another question for you, Danya. I mean, it must be a bit strange being on this side of the interview, but you mentioned you played Minh yesterday, and in a big match, and obviously Minh is now playing against Magnus Carlsen in the next match. How do you think that match is going to go?
I have to go help out at a little chess camp, but I'll be watching in the car, and then I'll be watching there. I think we'll all be watching. I think it's going to be an amazing match. Obviously, Minh and I are good friends. He's a tremendous Bullet player when he's on form. Last half of our Bullet match yesterday, he was playing like an absolute champ. Obviously, Magnus is the heavy favorite. The way Carlsen has been playing Blitz and Rapid in the last few months, I don't think God himself can stop Magnus, but I think it's going to be a close match. I think Minh is going to throw some punches, and I would ignore Minh's FIDE rating and the relative Bullet ratings. He's a beast, and if he can get his types of positions, I think Magnus will have a tough 30 minutes ahead of him.
Well, Danya, love hearing your thoughts. Awesome for you to be on this side of the interview, and we'll let you go. You just said you have to teach some camps, so have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow in the winner's semi. So, keep on trucking along.
Great commentary, guys. I've been enjoying it while not playing. You guys are doing amazing, and thanks again for having me on.
Of course, Danya. Well, that was not just your favorite commentator, your favorite streamer, but someone who advanced to the winners semifinals of the Bullet Chess Championship. That is Daniel Naroditsky. He awaits the winner of Hikaru Nakamura and Jose Martinez. Alireza Firouzja got the job done. That was 11-5 score, 6-point margin. So actually not as big of a margin as Danya won by, but it felt like that one from the early stages was Firouzja's for the taking. He will await the winner of Magnus versus Minh. And Simon, it's that time. You've been waiting for it all day. Let's be honest, the fans, they've been excited for it as well. It's the time when Hikaru and Magnus play. They're not playing each other, but they are about to take part in their matchups here in the winner's bracket of the Bullet Chess Championship.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, two of the most amazing players of all time, and certainly of our current generation. You've got Magnus Carlsen, in my opinion, probably the best chess player ever. And you've got the legend of online chess, Hikaru Nakamura, who's won this competition 3 times. And we saw how good, for example, Danya was playing an Alireza in that last match. How can you get better than that? And Hikaru, I have to say, is the best. So it's fascinating to see the best play, and I'm very much looking forward to these matches.
They're going to be great. Yesterday, Hikaru had the best score of the day, 22.5 points for him. That was crazy to witness. He takes on Jose Martinez, who, from Peru, is living in Mexico, as he told us in an interview yesterday, and he was probably the highlight of day one. We put the spotlight on him because he won that match in sudden death against Giri. So he goes from one super grandmaster foe to another, but this is like the ultimate test for him. Jose's a streamer. He plays in Title Tuesdays, Arena Kings. You name the event, he is participating. He has a lot of experience against Hikaru, but if we're being real, when you have experience against Hikaru, it's usually experience losing.
Yeah, there's not many players who have experience of winning against Hikaru. Maybe one of the only players is Magnus Carlsen. And the good thing about these matches, though, you're the underdog, right? If you're Minh Lee or if you're Jose, you have another chance because you've got the losers bracket. It doesn't matter so much. So you should feel the pressure, but you should also try to enjoy the match. realize if you win, you'll be a hero, right? You'll knock out a legend. And these are kind of like the sort of lovely stories everyone, sort of dreams of. Dream of beating Magnus Carlsen, dream of beating Hikaru. And it's only half an hour of chess, so it is possible to do that. But saying that, Robert, what are your predictions? I'll put you on the line again, because my predictions today have been appalling. I think I've only got Danya right. Everything else has gone wrong.
Well, to be fair to you, you chose Bortnik because I chose Alireza. I'm pretty sure you would have chosen Alireza. So, you're doing okay. I think, come on, let's be real. It's Hikaru, it's Magnus. They are the heavy favorites. If you're choosing against them, you better have some really good odds in your corner. But Hikaru, Nakamura, and Magnus Carlsen, unless the next round we might be speaking differently, I think for now they remain the favorites. And let's talk about Magnus first, because he is the world's #1 player. He joined us yesterday on the broadcast, was disappointed with his win against Eric Hansen because he didn't fully sweep him. That just goes to show that he wants to win each and every game. There are some jests, he's having fun, but Magnus is the #1 rated player in the world. As you said, he's likely the best player of all time, and he's won many championships, but not this one. This is his first time in the Bullet Chess Championship.
I think one of the big reasons actually for this joining of Chess24 and Chess.com from Magnus's perspective is actually so he can come and win these events. Magnus wants to win everything. He wants to prove to the world he's best at the quick play time limits, the bullet time limits, the long play time limits. So don't underestimate how much he actually does want this competition. I mean, he mentioned in the interview yesterday that he's away from home and he hasn't got his ideal setup, so he's going to be a lot slower than usual. Maybe this could play into his opponent's hands, but he is still Magnus Carlsen. So I agree with you, Robert. Magnus and Hikaru, I mean, you just can't bet against them, can you? I mean, it's impossible. You've got to go on their side. They are the favourites, and we do expect them to do well, but you just never know. Both their opponents are brilliant players as well.
And we see Minh here on camera. He's got that nice painting behind him. He is such a wholesome streamer. If you don't follow Minh, go do so right now. If we can get a shout out to Minh in the chat, and Jose as well. You know Magnus, you know Hikaru. If you don't already follow their channels, that's on you. You may not be as familiar with Minh, who is a phenomenal online player from Vietnam. He entered this competition as the 7th seed, but he also was so close last year to finishing in 3rd place. He lost a very heartbreaking game to Daniel Naroditsky. He just became a grandmaster, but he was really a GM in strength far before 2022, and it's his 4th appearance in the Bullet Chess Championship. He's played against Hikaru in many different time controls and many different events, but maybe this is one of his first times playing against Magnus, so that's going to be interesting. I think he's going to see this as an opportunity, Simon.
100%. I mean, again, when you get a chance to play one of these guys, you just got to grasp it. It's an opportunity. You're playing like a legend at chess, and even if you are a legend yourself, I'm not saying Minh is not a legend, he is, but you're playing the big boss. It's like you get to the end of the level, you've beaten all the baddies, are set for the big boss. You've got this big monster that you've got to defeat to level up, and you might lose once, you get another life, you do in this tournament, but if you manage to beat the big boss, it's like, done it. It's such an amazing feeling, and that's the feeling that everyone dreams of, and he can do it. He can do it. I mean, who knows? Magnus is not in his ideal setup. We saw him maybe drinking a cocktail yesterday, Robert, with Eric. So is he still out partying? We don't know, but it's going to be one hell of a match, whatever happens.
And yesterday, he and Eric were facing off against one another. Eric's match didn't even happen because Arjun Erigaisi was busy playing over the board, but Magnus is now seated. I think he is getting set and ready to play against Minh. He knows. He said it yesterday to us in the interview. He knows how strong Minh is. It's not a player that you can take for granted, because let's say you give Minh that confidence. He wins game 1, and then he starts to feel a bit of rhythm. That's not going to be good. And Danya mentioned this, right? Playing openings that you feel comfortable in. Minh, he's known for that. He has his set repertoire. He knows how to get these annoying, nagging advantages from the white side. I played Minh a number of times. He gets his little London system, and he's just like, I'm going to play quickly, and yeah, you can equalize, but you also have to equalize in the clock. Magnus can do that, but not many others can.
Agreed. That's why the first couple of games are always really interesting. And I think what we've seen so far is that who basically gets that first edge has a big advantage, and they're converting that into victory in the mini matches. So we can see them now that they are seated. It's getting exciting, and they're off.
Yes.
Knight F3 on every board.
Yeah, these are two very different positions now because Hikaru went for his B3 system after starting with Knight F3. And then we see in the left-hand side of our screen that Minh brought his queen out and stole the pawn on B2. So sometimes that can backfire, but look at Magnus going for a pawn down endgame because he believes the rooks deserve their open files.
Yeah, very interesting play on both boards, and you can see they're quite positional in nature. I really like what Minh did there. You have to be brave when you're playing these guys. If you see a pawn, even if it looks risky, if you can't see a reason why not to take it, take it. And actually now the Black Knight also has a way in. Magnus puts his rook on a great square there, taking over the open file. And it's pretty in the balance at the moment, I feel, this game, with these two great players. And the other board, Robert, also seems quite even at the moment.
Yes, but look at the clock. Hikaru is well ahead on time against Jose, and that could be the problem. But Jose's equalized completely. Look at this. It's a rook and 4 endgame. And here's where Hikaru has to shine, has to just play quickly, and has to say, I don't care that it should be a draw. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Doesn't matter. This is the BCC.
Yeah, and it's where Hikaru is so strong. He can maybe actually have swapped off rooks there. And the white king is a little bit out of play. And look at this. Hikaru just coming through the center. His king on a great square. He's won one pawn. He's going to win another pawn. And this has great chances to convert because the white king is on the wrong side of the black pawn. Still a bit of work to do here. It might be a draw. It is a draw. Okay. Is he going to try to flag him? King and rook versus king and rook?
Why not? Go for it. I mean, Hikaru has more time, so he should do just that. And it's what Giri should have done earlier today.
He should have tried, and he's just got to make the 50 moves with 4 seconds left, Jose. He's now got 3 seconds. Remember, when it gets to 50 moves, it's an automatic draw. I hate getting flagged in this position. He's got 0.5 of a second. He's not going to do it.
No, but look at Magnus.
He gets flagged.
And Magnus is about to get flagged too. Magnus drops a rook. Minh takes game 1, and Hikaru could not convert with his time advantage. So upsets already in the first game of these matches.
Yeah, I think it was a draw because there wasn't enough material on the board, but that was absolutely crazy. And did you say Magnus lost?
Magnus lost. Yes, you know what happened? Magnus was better. He was pressing, going for an attack, and Minh was just the faster of the two.
Wow. Magnus is down on points. It's not often that happens, but he's down on points. Incredible. And also, his position here, I do not like. I've seen Magnus play this exact same thing with the white pieces, and it's really quite a dodgy position for black because they're the king. But okay, he might be safe now, as the black knight has found a great square also in the center of the board.
Wow, and bishop f8, what a calm move from Magnus there, retreating. I would have taken the knight and gone h4 as black, but he says that knight on h4 has to stay as a defensive piece, and he takes it, and wow, a pawn sack. He's winning the rook on f2 with knight g4?
Okay, well, Magnus did win the exchange there, and he won it very quickly. He brings his rook over. He can swap off that knight at any moment as well. And Magnus well in control in this game. Looks like he's going to level the score there. On the other board, Jose has a very dangerous attack here. His rook and queen dominating, and can Hikaru defend this? And it's half all there, so beautiful tactics here. Oh, Hikaru's seen that a little bit further, maybe?
Yeah, I think the eval bar, does not look like it's catching up to the players because that was clearly not an even battle. So we'll look at that. But we're also looking at Magnus Carlsen taking game 2 up 10 seconds and up a queen for just a knight.
Yeah. And there you go. You can see Minh having a little laugh at the end of that one. And we have 1-1 in that match. Hikaru is 1 point up after that victory there. And playing very quickly in this game as well. I quite like Hikaru's position, but this is also a great move from Jose, bringing his knight into an aggressive square. I mean, what could you suggest? What is the right way to play, for example, against Hikaru, Robert? I mean, should you try to tactical games? Should you just try to play positional? Do these kind of things work?
I mean, when you ask me what's the best way to play, is just to resign. I hit that button. I'm like, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much to handle. It's really a question that goes unanswered unless you just happen to be a super grandmaster yourself. And, well, how do you play against Magnus? That's also an unanswerable question. And it looks like Minh did take game 1, but game 2 went Magnus's way. And here in game 3, Magnus is up a pawn with white, and he's just going right to checkmate in 1.
Oh, there you go. Straight in with a checkmate. And Minh, well, he was showing a bit of emotion there. He's got to make sure he doesn't let this match now drift off the wrong way. And, okay, a solid opening in this game. And nice little tactic there from Magnus, swapping off some pieces, coming with a bishop.
Yeah, I was interested that the eval bar for a moment there was saying black was much better. Maybe he could have delayed the capture on c3, he kept attention with bishop f5 first, but that's neither here nor there. This looks solid, right? This looks like a position where the quicker player flags the slower player because there's no pawn tension whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a fairly even position. Neither side has any weaknesses. That's also very important. We're talking about Minh Lee's game against Magnus Carlsen. And, you just got to make sure you don't create too many weaknesses. I love what Magnus has done on the A file, though. White's B pawn behind Black's queen is a bit weak, and he's just blundered it, I think, there. And this is the kind of mistake you just can't do against Magnus. And Minh now trying to throw his pawns up the board to create something on the king side, but it's not going to be easy to break through any of Black's defenses in that area of the board. Okay, well, that move g5, still chances actually for Minh here.
Yeah, that felt a little bit maybe too ambitious or a little bit too carefree because that g5 pawn will be vulnerable. Now there's going to be a bunch of checks against the black king at some moment with a rook infiltrating on e8. And on the right-hand side of the screen, it looks like Jose Martinez is promoting that pawn. And you see him, he's bobbing his head, Simon. He is feeling some confidence.
I love that. I wonder what he's listening to there. Do we have what kind of music do you reckon Jose is bobbing his head to? Do you have a favourite choice of band or music, Robert, when you're crushing people online?
It's funny. I don't actually listen to music when I play chess, but I am curious what the chat thinks. So chat, let us know. What do you believe Jose is listening to? I'm sure some people watch his streams, and I'm just caught at the corner of my eye. That was it Magnus? It looked like he was better at first. Now he's holding on to a draw. So Minh, he's staying right with Magnus in that match.
He is. He's staying within grasp of him. That's what you need to do. Magnus said yesterday, as you mentioned, that he respects Minh Lee a lot, and he knows that he's a great player, and this match is not going to be easy. I see some of the suggestions coming through. I'm not really with a lot of them. I mean, come on. There's some bad suggestions here. Let me just. We have gang. What's it? Oh, I like the techno idea. But, you guys in the chat, some of you got awful taste in music, I have to say. Gangnam Style, no. Insane Cloud Posse, no, come on, guys, that is just wrong. ABBA, not for me. But anyway, yeah, Robert, interesting chat we're getting there.
And it looks like the games are very interesting. Look, there's a king on d6 for Minh. I was going to say, I don't listen to music. I was being honest about that. But if I were to listen to music, it'd probably be some like Leon Bridges. I love his music. I feel like it's pretty soothing as well. So it's not like going to get me a little too amped where I'm not remaining objective. So the eval bars are sky high in both these games. I think that's wrong. So we are going to work on that, everybody. Apologies, just being transparent here. But it looks like on the left-hand side, it is actually a winning advantage for Magnus. For Jose, he's just plodding along in a normal-looking position.
Yes, Hikaru with a 2-point lead, which, is still within Jose's reach there. And, Magnus now getting a little bit ahead. But, there's some chances here that Minh Lee might be able to draw that game. And a lot of people saying, how can you not like ABBA, Simon? It's not necessarily not liking ABBA. I'm kind of indifferent towards them. It's very hard not to like ABBA, isn't it? You have to be a bit weird to say I hate ABBA. It's just when you're playing chess, what kind of person hates ABBA? God, that's just weird.
Yeah.
But I think when I'm playing chess, I kind of like a bit more like upbeat music. So like some something a bit shouty in my ear to get angry to. You know, otherwise I'd get, you know, Robert, you were saying you like it calm, but I get a bit too pacified. You know, I need to have that energy when I play.
I just feel like when I get the energy, it's too much energy. You know, if I'm like listening to some kind of like just that beat is just dropping all the time, I feel like I lose focus to some extent. So yeah, you see that chat there, anxiety-inducing speed. That's what's actually saved Minh in some positions in this match, is he has been the faster of the two players in some critical down-the-stretch moments. And we see with the white pieces, this is the Minh lay system. He just has what seems like a pretty neutral-looking position, but he feels super comfortable putting his pieces on improved squares.
He's one of these players who has that natural talent, Minh Lee, where he just knows where the pieces should go. And that's a really hard skill to learn. There's not many players who have that. And he's keeping the score well within reach. I mean, it is only 1 point in it, so one win at any moment, he will level the score. I mean, seeing Magnus getting knocked out would be amazing. Well, he won't get knocked out, but losing would be... Could it happen? Any believers out there?
I definitely look at the clock. Minh is up 7 seconds against Magnus, and he has the advantage in this game. And I think that, you know, it's the trade-off we keep referring to. Is it more important to have this, you know, +2 advantage on the board, or have 5 seconds ahead on the clock? Minh is both. He just won this game. Magnus looks a bit frustrated. This match is tied.
Wow. Tied match between probably the greatest chess player of all time, Magnus Carlsen, and Minh Lee. This could go to the wire. Could we be seeing an upset? And, well, we see another position where the pieces are getting exchanged quite quickly. Magnus, I think, will like this. He has the advantage of the two bishops in an open structure. You can't take that bishop because of back rank checkmate. And two bishops in an open structure should be a nice edge here. But there goes one of the bishops. Black losing a pawn, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the Magnus style, right? As you were saying, such a position where it looks slightly better for white. He turns it into an extra pawn. Is that extra pawn that meaningful? Right? It's a double pawn, so it's almost like you're not really up one. But he's going to try to convert this advantage in the endgame.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Bobby Fischer, Magnus Carlsen like this. And I think one of the best analogies that someone said when they were talking about Magnus Carlsen's style, they were saying he was like a turbo mix of Bobby Fischer and Karpov, these two great players. They were saying Bobby Fischer, because Bobby Fischer had this ability to transform positions, right? He could take one advantage and transform it into another advantage. And then Karpov, because of his positional style as well. And you can see here that Magnus is a pawn up in this position. The evaluation bar thinks it's a draw, but is he going to now use that Karpov endgame technique? I mean, the B pawn looks really scary.
You see Magnus shaking his head. He knows that he's not winning this game, but he probably also looked at the clock and he's like, I'm actually ahead on time for once, and now he's in a winning endgame.
He is winning. Wow.
Oh.
It's shocking, but he missed the win there. Was it Rook B5, I think? Potentially? Maybe that would have won? I'm not sure. And it's only a draw. Only a draw.
And this is why the eval bar can almost be discarded in these moments. But look at the final time, by the way. Magnus had 16 seconds, so he could have burned some more clock trying to find the way through it. Yeah, it's hard to blame anybody when they make a mistake in bullet. But when you have that lead on time, I think you need to pick your moments to use that clock. And right now, that's a game that Magnus is going to regret.
Yeah, they're neck and neck, 3.5 all. Very, very close match. And the other match, Hikaru taking quite a nice lead there. Jose playing good chess, but the speed of Hikaru is just phenomenal, isn't it? And that's why a lot of people are saying Hikaru is the favourite to take the whole competition again. But first of all, Magnus has got to get through this round. If we want to see Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru, he's got to qualify. And his position looks really ropey here. The black king exposed. Look at those light squares. You don't want to push pawns in front of your king too much because you'll weaken your king. He puts the knight on f8. There's a saying, knight on f8, it can't be checkmate. That black knight next to the king. But still, scary for Magnus this position.
Yeah, that's why he traded the queens and the superfluous knights no more. The knight from f8 is out of there. But risky decisions from Magnus with that pawn push. He clearly... Whoa, knight d6. He clearly calculated to equality, but yeah, this does look pretty level if you just trade off all the pieces.
It looks level. The black C pawn is very dangerous, but white has an extra pawn here. Deciding to keep rooks on the board. Interesting.
Minh probably should hide his king. I think that's what the engine is screaming at him about. He's also up on time. So if Minh wants to play for win, I might have tried to flag Magnus in that position.
Yeah. 4-all, they're neck and neck. I just didn't expect this to happen. And the next game starts. Magnus playing the Scandinavian opening in most of the games. And this is giving white quite a nice space advantage. I think one of the ways you should try and target Magnus is to attack him. Just go straight for him. And look at this.
Magnus
sorry. Yeah, it was me getting that wrong, Robert. It was actually Minh Lee who had the black pieces there.
No, I could tell you're about to be shocked that Magnus would blunder that. I'm also shocked that Minh blundered it. Minh almost leapt out of his chair. He's like, what am I doing? And in such a close match, a single game could be all important. So you do not want to give Magnus that winning streak. We've seen him do it in Tata Steel and classical chess. He'll draw his first bunch of games, then he'll win like 4 in a row. So you don't want him to taste that blood.
100%. He's relentless. He's brutal as well. I think to be one of the best world champions, you just have to be. I mean, there you go. He's winning a piece there of that rook coming into C2. Minh Lee laughing about it, but I expect he's not laughing on the inside there. Magnus a piece up. Probably best just to resign this. You've still got 13 minutes. Get to the next game.
I wonder if internally Minh is just trying to pump himself up a little bit because, at this stage with Magnus with a 2-point lead, it's in his favor. But it's sometimes hard to resign and then immediately play the next game when you just played a stinker of a game. So for Minh, he did just resign. He's going back to his Scandinavian. Where's John Bartholomew? You out there, buddy? Team Scandi is Minh's preference. And it's just in line with his style. He likes to play solidly. He's not a huge risk taker in the early stages. But of course, white does control the center, have the bishop pair, and enjoys a small plus in the white side of the Scandi.
Kind of suits Magnus as well, doesn't it? These kind of positions we're seeing. I mean, we're talking about Minh Lee and how it helps him, but Magnus likes having a nice, stable advantage without too much risk. And the problem with the Scandinavian, this variation in particular, is that white always has the 2 bishops. And that light square bishop can be a great piece attacking black's king.
Very true. And I mean, you mentioned good light square bishops. I looked on the right-hand side with Hikaru's match against Jose Martinez. Hikaru up 3 points and also up, it looks like 2 pawns on the queen side. Some would say he's up 1 pawn, and that is true in total. But he's up 2 pawns on the queen side, whereas black's pawns are doubled on the f-file. So I think Hikaru can successfully get this game, if not on the board, on the clock.
And there you go, the A pawn starts to run. Black, though, did grab a pawn and comes back, and white's winning idea in the Hikaru game is to get the king to support the white pawn, and he does do that. Now the white pawn can just try to promote to a queen there.
And it's why bishops are such great pieces that bishop on d5 will stop both f and h pawns from its square, and that means Hikaru gets the game, and he increases his lead to 4 points. So it looks like Minh has a winning advantage on the left-hand side of our screen and a lead on the clock. So he's about to cut that deficit in half. It's about to go from 2 to 1. And just a quick friendly reminder to everybody watching, it's win by 2 in the Bullet Chess Championship. So if Minh can stay within a point of Magnus, that means that we could get extra time as we only have 11 and a half minutes remaining.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think Magnus game could go all the way, right? It's only 1 point. And
we see the chat. Look at it. Minh has got this. Says, I am not Mendes.
Yeah. I like his position here. White has a very nice structure. Black's pawn in the middle of the board is really weak. White has the open file. And look at Magnus's bishop. Magnus's bishop is basically a big pawn. You might as well just call that a pawn. He's had to move it all the way back.
He blundered
and this is in his blunder. Just take the bishop.
Magnus recognized it. I saw Magnus's face. He realized he hung the bishop, and I think this is the problem when you play someone like Magnus. You trust him, right? You think Magnus wouldn't blunder. Let me find a retreating square. That was a free piece.
If he saves this game, Robert, that could be a turning point. You don't get many chances. And also, Magnus, as you say, realized that he blundered a piece, and he's really going to gain in confidence when his opponent doesn't take the piece. So I feel that Minh has to win this game now. You know, just to stop Magnus gaining in power. It's like Magnus is leveling up, right? Like gaining points every time. He's like, okay, next level. My opponent can't win the piece. Increase in size, but.
And I mean, they're moving so quickly, it's hard to even assess what's happening, but it does feel like Minh has the upper hand. He's in an endgame up a pawn. Wow, the knight is maneuvering. That b4 pawn is loose, but the b3 pawn also is a target.
Still quite hard to win, though. There's not much material on the board. In the ending, you need to keep pawns on the board. And there goes... Oh, no, I thought another pawn was getting exchanged. You know, the more pawns that get exchanged, the nearer to a draw you get. And you are playing the best endgame player of all time. That also doesn't help. Another pawn getting exchanged. Is there any way? Oh, look at that. That's a great idea that Minh played. Amazing technique, though. I just assumed it was a draw, Robert.
No, I mean, he just brings the knight back, and also he's looking at the clock. He wins the bishop, but he was also up several seconds. So Minh doesn't win the bishop the first time. He takes it. He wins the game. And now what do we have here? We have a knotted up match.
Unbelievable. It is 6-all with 9 minutes to go. We could see a major upset here. Just a quick update in the other match. Hikaru is quite easily dominating that match. He's 9.5 to 3.5. So I really think we've got to stay with the Magnus Carlsen match, as every move it's turning. And now Magnus swinging his queen over, lining up against Black's king here.
I agree with you. I'm not laughing at this. I saw at the corner of my eye, Hikaru bursted out into laughter because he was completely losing, and then Jose made a blunder, so it's even worse for him now. It's 10.5, 3.5. And if Hikaru wants the spotlight, and we all want to watch Hikaru's games, he needs to stop winning by so many points, all right? He needs to give his opponent a chance, and I think that will likely happen when he faces off against Daniel Naroditsky. We will obviously focus on that match. But right now, all eyes are on this game here between Minh and Magnus, and is Minh even worse? He's down a pawn, but that e3 pawn is the best pawn on the board.
I mean, it looks fairly even, doesn't it, Robert? I mean, it is an extra pawn, but we have the opposite kind of bishops. If the rooks get exchanged, you would assume it is a draw. And now we have those rooks coming off. But White's 2 pawns, it's only White who can win this position. That's the other thing. Only White. And you're right. I mean, we obviously want to see Hikaru play as well. But, you know, he's just winning too easily. That's the problem at this moment in time.
He really is. And Magnus is actually winning this endgame, but I think he needs to bring his king to b7. He'll push his... Oh, he can't push his pawn to f5. He loses h7.
Yeah, it's not so easy to win, is it? I mean, he's going to try everything because he wants to get back into the lead, obviously. But he's a bit down on time. Keep an eye on the clock here. That could be the most important factor of this encounter.
That was a nice move, though. f6. If the bishop took h8 equals queen, that's what's going to happen now. Is this stalemate? No, because black still has pawns.
That's why he's the best endgame player of all time. And he goes back into the lead. A sigh of relief there on his face. He realized just how important that game was. He really needed it. And here you can keep an eye on the other match as well. Hikaru just about to win another game. I mean, you know, he's just cruising at the moment, Hikaru.
And yeah, Hikaru, he took that one with black. Oh, no, he was white in that game. Sorry. So he lost that game. Sorry for the confusion, everybody. But he is still just so far ahead in that match. And on the left-hand side, we see Minh down 1 point. And that's the striking distance you need to be in. It's win by 2 in this tournament. And, well, that rook to hit b2, that did not feel good for Minh.
No, that's a big idea that Magnus played. But he has got his central break in. This break that Minh played in the center often gives White very good compensation. And I don't think White is doing that badly. And actually, the computer thinks that White's now a lot better. And if Minh can win this one, it's equal, the score again, with only about 5 minutes left.
And Magnus stole an h-pawn, and Minh stole an e-pawn. And that king on g8, I mean, there's a queen in front of it. And that's a pass d. What is Magnus doing, giving away all of his important pawns?
Yeah, it's a really weird pawn structure that White has. The 2 double pawns, but the pawn in the center, as you pointed out, Robert, is massive. Yeah. You can just push it. Push it, baby.
And I like that pawn going d7. Not yet with the rook hanging now on e7. Bishop e6. Oh, he's barely escaping his Magnus.
Oof. Is he escaping this one?
For the moment?
He's got a blockade, hasn't he? He's got a blockade on the position. And how do you break through Magnus's bishop there? It's not easy to do. You might have to take the bishop at some point. And he does. And his queen comes in. Great play there from Minh. That was really clever. Breaking the blockade. And it's even again. 7 points all. There's nothing between them. I mean, Magnus may be getting a bit frustrated now.
He definitely is. He's used to pulverizing his opposition, especially his opponents who don't have 2,700 in classical chess. But that was great play by Minh, even better call by you, because you saw that coming and Minh executed it to perfection. So we have a tied match right now as Hikaru runs away with his. And we see that Magnus is struggling against Minh, and the black side of another Scandinavian type of opening here where the d4 pawn is a bit of a target, but white has the bishop pair and maybe is ready to strike on the king side.
There he goes. He does strike on the king side, as you say there, Robert, and he wants to try to get his rook around. But remember that saying, a knight on f8, it can't be mate. We'll find out if it's true, but the knight next to black's king is a fantastic defender. And Magnus also has this weak pawn, I'd say, in the middle of the board. So positionally, black's better, but tactically, Magnus is attacking here.
Yeah, and he takes an f6. You knew that was coming when he put his rook on f4. And so Minh sacrifices back. That's often a way to save your king. If you're up some material, give some back. And it seems like he's holding on because as you keep highlighting, that knight on f8, maybe it's go up to g6. And where is the checkmate that you want?
It's very hard. The king comes back. Maybe you can sacrifice some g6 there. I'm not sure. Every point is so key when the match is so close, and there's only 3 minutes to go. And look at that. It's a big check there. Wow, what is happening here, Robert? He drops a piece.
He dropped a piece, but rook d2, and the king on g2 is in some trouble there. What's the...
Oh, and black could be winning this.
Oh, he had rook takes bishop. I think that was the key, because the e-pawn would have promoted. That's so difficult to spot, no matter how much time you have, but especially in bullet.
And this is such a big game. It looks like Magnus is going to take a 1-point lead with about 2.5 minutes left there. So this is where if Magnus wins, it is really dangerous now, right? It's only, if he wins a black, could be over.
Yeah. I mean, this is not one that Minh can afford to drop, and he had his chances in the previous game. And that's what I think, as the underdog, you like to see. It's not like when you lose, there were some blunders, of course, but typically the losses have been really hard fights. And so this position looks like a Minh position. Slightly better from the white side. Black's rook's not connected, but Magnus is doing a good job of trying to fend off the pressure on the queen side.
Yeah, white's knight, though, is looking really nice, isn't it? That white knight has a stable square. The black knight can't come in because of that excellent last move from white. So you're right, this is a Minh position. He has the advantage. And the queen now diving into the position. He's playing great chess. And what you take this with? With the rook keeping the open file. And now a very dangerous passed pawn here.
And look at that
great opportunity. This would level the score again. This would level the score again, Robert. If he can.
I didn't love the decision to trade queens. It felt like white had all this pressure, and now Magnus is ready to strike with e5, shutting down the bishop on g3. So will it work? White does have f4, and he plays it to stop it, but I think he's going down the wrong direction.
I agree. Magnus' position is getting much, much better here. Now that passed pawn, he's sacrificed it, and he's lost his bishop. Oh, my words.
Oh,
so
no.
that means it's a 2-point lead. He's going to get another chance, though, Robert.
And he must win. This is going to be doesn't win. Reminder, we've been reminding you all match and all day, it's win by 2. So if Minh takes this game, we will see extra time. And hey, this is a Minh-like position. Even if Magnus is the one who chose the opening, it's a solid setup where Minh can play quickly.
But he has to win. Minh has to win. He's got the black pieces. His position seems very nice. The white rook is not developed. The white bishop has to come out. Black has some chances here. Any other result, Magnus is the champion of this match.
And Magnus, he's trading off all the pieces. He's a vacuum cleaner. He just wants to say, let's get them all off the board, and I'll just hold a draw because that is what I need. And I'm looking at the clock. Magnus is ahead there too.
He's up on the clock, and he just grabs the pawn there quite bravely. The Black Knight coming in to try and cause some problems. You can see the concentration on both of their faces. They realise how big this game is. The clock now counting down to 0. Black must win. Any chances here? Because great defensive play so far from Magnus.
Yeah, the really annoying thing is this knight on h4 is trapped over there. It can be used as a weapon at some point if the queen lands on h2, but queen g5 trapped the knight in his place. It's on the rim, and you can see Magnus, he knows the match is his.
Oh, wow. That's why he's the champion, right? That's why he's one of the best players of all time, if not the best. When the pressure is on, and look at that, Minh giving him a round of applause there. But you know what? Minh should be having a round of applause as well. He played fantastic.
Let's get claps for Minh in the chat. He deserves it. And Magnus Carlsen, I mean, he knew that it would be a tough match. I don't think he knew it would be this tough, this close. But Magnus Carlsen, he does what he does best. He gets the job done in crunch time. He wins this match by a 3-point margin. It really felt like it could go either way. Magnus get a point lead. Minh would drag it back down to level. And in the other match, that was never close, Simon. I mean, Jose had a few nice wins, but Hikaru Nakamura, he stole the show in that game.
Yeah, he did. And he's done that in both the matches so far. Hikaru's been absolutely dominant and playing probably the best chess out of everyone so far. That match, Magnus didn't look so happy with it at the end, you know. He realised he just got through it with the skin of his teeth there. And it could have gone either way, even up to the last 5 minutes of that encounter.
What a day we have had today. Let's look at the updated bracket now that all matches for day 2 are done. We see in the winner's semifinals, it's Hikaru Nakamura versus Daniel Naroditsky. Danya, probably the best performer of the day with that 8-point win over Andrew Tang. Magnus Carlsen takes down Minh in a close one. Alireza Firouzja beats Bortnik. And so we have showdowns tomorrow. Nakamura, Naroditsky, Carlsen, Firouzja. I think everybody should be circling their calendar for those.
I mean, what matches do we have there? I mean, of course, you have Hikaru versus Daniel Naroditsky. That's obviously a fan favourite, but if you can recall back to when Magnus decided not to resit and defend his World Championship match, he made the statement that he would defend his World Championship match had he been playing and faced against Alireza Firouzja. So he's got a lot of respect for Alireza, and we're going to see that bullet match tomorrow. So, wow.
It's
better
going
and
to be
better.
exciting tomorrow for sure. We also will have the losers bracket players still remain in that side of the field. And we're about to have an interview with Hikaru Nakamura. So put your questions in chat. We'd love to feature some of them. But for now, Simon and I are taking a break. When we return, we'll be joined by none other than 3-time bullet chess champion Hikaru Nakamura.
Have a friend or family member who loves chess? Gift them a chess.com membership today and see them take their game to the next level. You can choose a gold, platinum, or diamond membership for 1 month or 1 year. Want your gift to arrive on your friend's birthday or on a holiday? Gifts can be scheduled to arrive up to 90 days in the future. All premium plans include an ad-free experience, unlimited puzzles and lessons, and unlock all bots. Go platinum to add unlimited game review or diamond to unlock insights and coach explanations. Give the gift of chess today.
Dude, it's impossible to not hear you just breathing super loudly.
Okay, fine. I will hold my breath for 3 minutes.
All right, let's go.
Okay,
let's go
sure.
right now. Got the
Ready?
chess clock app right here. Almost there. And you did it.
What can you do for 3 minutes?
My wife says not a lot, but I can plank.
Keep that big butt down. Dude, nice.
2, 1, you did it. Wow. I feel better. Oh, yeah. You were timing me?
Yeah, you were in there for 30 minutes.
Oh, man.
Let's
Sorry.
play some chess and get some dinner.
Let's do it.
Time odds?
Yeah.
Okay. You bring your clock?
Oh, I left my clock at home.
Dude, you idiot. I told you to bring it.
Let's just go get something to eat.
Okay. Download the new chess.com clock app so you can time yourself playing chess or whatever other dumb stuff you and your friends do.
As always, it's a pleasure to be joined by none other than Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. Hikaru, congratulations on a win over Jose. You have a lot of experience playing against him, Joswim as he's known. What was it like today, and how did you get the job done so convincingly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I've played Jose a lot over the last couple of years. He's always very resourceful player. I played him many times in Arena Kings as well as Blitz and Title Tuesday. So I knew it was going to be a tough match. I think really the turning point was sort of from the get-go. I was able to put a lot of pressure on him in the first couple of games. I think, certainly the first game, I should have won that game. I didn't in the Rook versus Rook end game. But the fact that I won 2 games afterwards, it sort of set the tone. Even though I don't think I played my best chess, it was still good enough. So you just keep moving forward and keep trying to play well. I think the main thing is just keeping the intensity throughout and never letting your opponents go on big streaks if you can.
Hi, Hikaru, and well done. And is there any sort of advice you can give to prepare for such an intense match like this?
I don't think there's anything specific in terms of advice. I think the main thing is just trying to stay calm, because certainly in chess there's a lot of tilt. It definitely applies more to blitz and certainly to both than say rapid or classical. But the main thing is always just trying to stay calm, because it's very easy to tilt and then lose a game in 20 seconds. Like Andrew, for example, in his match against Danya, there were a couple times where it seemed like he was getting close, and then he lost the game and then he instantly lost that next game in 20 seconds purely due to tilt. So certainly the main thing is just to try and stay calm and not lose your mind, because it's very, very easy in bullet, because you only have 1 minute for the whole game. Just blitz out 20 moves, get a losing position, and then just like that, you can ruin the match. So overall, I think that's the most important thing, is just relaxing.
Well, Hikaru, it sounds like you've been following the other matches quite closely. Who have you been most surprised or impressed by thus far in the Bullet Chess Championship?
I can't really say I've been surprised by anybody. You have the top 4 players who are all playing each other, so it's hard to say that I've been surprised by anybody. I think if I had to pick a player though that I would say I've been surprised by, it would be Giri. I think that's because he put up a really great fight against Jose Martinez, and then today he was also very close to winning. I guess one of them, but when you look at the winners bracket, the top 4 players, I don't think that it's a surprise to anybody who we have.
And we have a question from the chat here. And what kind of music do you listen to when you're playing bullet chess? Do you have a particular favorite kind of band or music?
I think that I just listen to whatever's on my playlist. I don't actively pick something different from what's normally playing, but certainly some songs are probably more up tempo, but I just have my playlist on Spotify, and that's all it is. There's nothing special about it. I just listen to something, and hopefully the rhythm's good. And I think the main thing is just not to listen to something that's super slow. I think if I were to listen to classical music during bullet, I'd probably be down 10 to 15 seconds every game, because it's so boring. So I think that's the main thing, is just just as long as it's some kind of rock or something that has some tempo to it, that's important.
Yeah, feeling the rhythm, which seems to be working to perfection thus far for you. And we have another question from the chat. And the question is, do you prefer to play Magnus or Alireza if you all are to make the final?
Well, first of all, I have a very big match against Danya, I think, tomorrow. So, I think I said on my stream, I would say it here, as I've felt quite a bit in this format with the time control only being 30 minutes, I certainly think that it's very important that you don't get off to a very bad start. I would say that against Danya, it's going to be a very exciting match. If I get off to a good start, I think I probably will win. If Danya's hot and I'm not, I could very easily go the other way. So I think that match is going to be really exciting. If I make it past that match, I don't know who I prefer. Obviously, I played Alireza a couple of years ago. I lost that a very, very, very long, 1 hour bullet match, I think in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. So I do have some experience playing Alireza. Of course, playing Magnus is always a lot of fun. So I don't really have a preference per se. But I really think due to the format, with it being 30 minutes, anybody can win. It's a matter of the start. The start is super, super critical with such a short time control. So I don't have a preference, but it'll be exciting if I make there either way.
And just a quick point of clarification, actually the semifinals onwards are extended to 45 minutes matches, so there will be a little bit more time and I guess less variance.
So my match tomorrow is 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's I guess that's a good thing. Obviously I just show up and play, so I don't follow, I don't pay attention to anything anymore. But 45 minutes is definitely, I think, a little bit better for me, perhaps. I think over a longer period of time, I should have more chances to win, certainly, against a player like Danya. But either way, I think you have the four best players are all through to this portion. I did want to say one of the things. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to watch the Magnus match. This was going on at the same time, but Minh apparently came very close. I think Minh is also another player who's not as heralded certainly in Bullet, but he is a player who's capable of doing really, really well. So just want to give Minh a big shout out because I heard he came very close. But yeah, overall, you have the four best players in the final. I think it's going to be exciting. I don't think anyone's a big favorite. I mean, people might be annoyed at me for saying this. I think this is like 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago. I think I'm a massive favorite to beat any of these players. But as we all get older, things and times start to change a little bit. So I still like my chances, but I don't think that in this case there's any one player who's a big favorite.
And another question from the chat here: does your repertoire change much between Bullet, Blitz, and Rapid chess?
I mean, I would say that it depends on the player. I think that some of the openings that I'm able to use, say against Jose or against Ohanian, for example, probably would not work against a player like Andrew Tang very specifically. But generally, I think it's player by player. And there are a couple of players where I think some of the sidelines don't work as well, simply because they're very, very fast. But overall, there really isn't that big of a difference, except for a couple of specific players where I think certainly when I play some of the nonsense sidelines, they're very good. I think Alireza actually is another player where when I play the sidelines, he's very well prepared for them. So some players I try to avoid it, but for the most part, there isn't a huge difference between Blitz and Bullet. Between Classical and Rapid, it's massive. And I think that certainly there are a lot of openings that in Classical chess I would just never use in Bullet for sure.
Well, speaking of Classical chess, you have an upcoming tournament at the World Cup. Are you excited to head on over to Baku and slug it out with the best players in the world?
Well, I mean, I can give you the standard line, which is it's a vacation from me. I have my real job as a streamer. It's what pays the bills. So like every other tournament, including Norway chess, I'm simply going to go and play and do my best, and hopefully I'll be competitive. And that's really the extent of my ambitions. If I do well, I do well. If I don't do well, that's life. But I don't approach tournaments anymore with any of this nonsense about needing to win, all this pressure, all that nonsense. It's gone by the wayside. I think when you put pressure, you have expectations, nothing but bad can come from it. Unless you're Magnus. I think Magnus certainly is a player who, when there's pressure after he's lost games, he's able to really become an amazingly clutch player, certainly. But for me, I think for most top players, when you deal with when you have this pressure, you put expectation on yourself. It's all bad. It's all downhill. And so I just want to be competitive, and everything else is just gravy on top.
And you mentioned the streaming, and you've had some fantastic results since you've been streaming quite regularly. Do you think that's helped your chess, your classical chess? And your results in classical chess?
I think what I would say is that I don't think that I'm necessarily that much better of a player per se. I think a lot of it is in the mind at the end of the day for all of us. I think whether you look at myself, Fabiano, Anish, there's one player we play against, and we all seem to have bad results. And most of the times that player plays very well against us. Don't get me wrong, but certainly you see some of the mistakes that we make against them that you don't make against other players. And I think that sort of sums it all up, that a lot of what happens in chess is very psychological. And for me, I don't have a lot of the pressures or worries that I used to have. So, I think that it's helped me become much more relaxed from a mental standpoint. And it's much different than if I was a pro player. I think certainly if I was going, if I was solely playing chess right now, going to this tournament, I'd be like, I'm number 2 in the world. I have a great chance at qualifying for the candidates. It's that as a pro player, that's really the only goal you have. Get to the candidates, and then if you can, get to a world championship match and win once you've made the top 10. And so, in the old days, I'd be feeling a lot of pressure to perform going to this World Cup. But now, I mean, as I said, streaming is much different and much more lucrative and just frankly better. So I don't have those worries anymore. And I just play very carefree. And it seems to have made a huge difference. I will say that. It's made a huge difference.
Well, speaking of top-level play and pressure, I know you're a huge tennis fan, Hikaru. What did you think about Wimbledon and Alcaraz's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I unfortunately couldn't watch it live, unlike a final that I watched many years ago. But it was actually, to me, very reminiscent of, I think it was 2008, if I'm not mistaken, the final between Federer and Nadal, the crazy 5-set match that many people consider to be one of the best matches of all time. And I think that it sort of started the changing of the guard. Now, whether others come up as well, if I compare in 2008, I feel like I mean, Novak wasn't anywhere near where he is today, and I think Rafa was the guy who could beat Roger at the French Open pretty convincingly, but everywhere else it was close to a toss up. And then Roger passed, and of course Novak came after that. And so I think you're starting to see a changing of the guard. I mean, it was amazing to see Alcaraz win that, especially because, in my opinion, maybe it's a hot take, but I do think that most likely, if not for all the nerves and the pressure and everything else, I do think Alcaraz would have probably won that match in the French. So it feels like a changing of the guard. It's an exciting time. So I think kind of similar to chess in some ways. You see the same people winning for a long period of time, and you want to see some of the youngsters, some of the up and comers start winning. And I think it's just great for tennis. And really excited to see who else can maybe break through. I mean, maybe Alcaraz is just going to win 30 majors or 40 majors. You never know, but you would assume that some of the other up and coming players will break through at some point as well.
Yeah, well, I know one person who probably doesn't want the up-and-comers to overtake them. That's you, Hikaru. I mean, congratulations on your wins thus far. We are super excited to see you take on Danya tomorrow. So thanks for the time and another great interview.
No problem. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you.
Thanks, Hikaru. Well, that is Hikaru Nakamura, who moves on to take his place in the semifinals in the winner's bracket against Daniel Naroditsky. Simon, always great to hear Hikaru's thoughts, trying to remove that pressure from himself. But he has some pressure ahead as he's facing Daniel Naroditsky. And if Danya's in the form that he showed today, if he can bring that into tomorrow's matchup, he knows he'll have his hands full.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, Danya was very impressive today as well. And I think Hikaru may have hit the nail on the head there, basically saying that how the match starts is really important. It's psychological. It's also, he said as well, and if you can get into a good role, into a good vibe, get your confidence up, then that can see you a long way. So I think for Danya to have a chance, he needs to start strong in that match.
For sure, and Magnus against Alireza, that will be maybe a highlight match of the entire event, and it's double elimination, so no matter who loses, we'll still have another shot. And speaking of this loser's bracket, Bortnik, Ohanian, Minh against Paravian, Tang, Hansen. Let's circle that one as a fan favorite. Two popular chess streamers. And speaking of chess streamers, Jose Martinez, he had a tough match today against Hikaru Nakamura. He takes on Denis Lazovic, who survived against Fabiano Caruana just when it seemed like Fabi was getting the upper hand. That was the start of the day, but Lazovic, he was able to secure his spot in the second round of the losers bracket. So we will start tomorrow with the losers bracket, and I mean, so much great chess has been underway, and there's so much more great chess just coming our way no matter where you turn. At the highest levels of chess, at the amateur levels, we've had Blitz champs, and hey, we got Pog champs. So Pog champs 5 is here. It is back. The wait is over. 16 of the world's biggest creators will go head-to-head in the greatest event in amateur chess, brought to you by Chess.com and PogChamps legend, Ludwig. Watch your favorite creators like Cutie Cinderella, XQC, and Sea-Dog VA, as well as I Did a Thing and many others, fight for their share of a $100,000 prize fund and a ticket to the live finals. That's right, live finals in Los Angeles. Use the command POG in chat for all the details. Simon, that's pretty Pog. That's going to be a fun event, but we also have more days of the Bullet Chess Championship. How do you juggle all of these great chess events?
It's tough, yeah. There's so much great chess now. I mean, thank you, internet, for that. And the thing that's really exciting me is that we might be heading towards a Hikaru versus Magnus final, and I don't think that has happened very often, funnily enough, in these big online events. And that is something I'm sure tens of thousands of people will be excited to see, and I'm one of those people. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. I mean, he's got Danya in the way, and obviously Magnus has got Alireza in the way, but that would be one hell of a final.
Oh, I mean, no matter who makes it through, we're in for a treat. We have 4 worthy competitors still in the winner's bracket. We still also have an entire loser's bracket. Only 4 players were eliminated today. So tomorrow, please join us again. Same time, same place. I will be joined by James Cannon III. We'll see Simon on Thursday, and I'll see you all bright and early for more of the Bullet Chess Championship. Stay tuned. See you then.